So I think I've talked about this in previous freaking lives that I've done. Sometimes in life, you just got to learn to make the adjustment, right? That's what we're doing. I do want to play a little bit of Erik's music at the very, very beginning because the song is so powerful. He wrote this. It's inspired by the George Floyd murder. And the lyrics are very, very powerful. He's starting his own solo career after being a producer in LA since 2005. I think that's not how he started, though. We're going to find that out today. I think he came here and actually started as a musician. And dude, this guy's brain is so fucking amazing. I've been watching him go live for the past couple of weeks, and to see his brain work is just so fucking cool. I can't wait to actually like pick his brain. But we're gonna listen to a little bit of his song. He actually raps on this too. I don't think he's a rapper though. But you know what? I think as an artist, you should never keep yourself in a box. This is truth. Yay, I just saw that he joined too. Listen to this. It's a really powerful message. I want you to check this out. It's a song called Is It the End or the Beginning? Erik, I can't wait to talk to you about this song, man, and what it's like to be a rapper. Weapons of mass distraction until we can relax in a constant state of reaction. What goes around is coming back like a cul-de-sac. If it comes down to war, just know we never wanted that. I love it. It's like his music, he takes people on a journey, like complete storyteller with not just the lyrics, but also the way the music flows from bar to bar. All right, let me pull him in. Let me pull him in because I know he is a busy guy. And I'm just so grateful that he's actually doing this. I've reached out to so many people, and then when I saw him say yes, I was like, ah! I was so happy. So let me pull him in. Oh, Erik, let's go.
Hey.
Yay, happiness! Oh my
How
God.
Good.
How are you? Are you getting sound?
I'm getting sound now.
All right, cool. Yay. Yay, and happiness. Dude, now I can tell you face to face that I think you're a fucking genius, and I just feel so honored that you are taking time out of your crazy busy schedule to actually like hang out with me for the next 45 minutes or so.
I mean, why not? You know what I'm saying? It's all good.
Yay, and happiness. Gosh, so you have been a musician like since inception, right? Like that's just you were born
Yeah, I
into
had to
this
ask
calling
my
and
mom when I
purpose.
started because I had no idea. I was like, when did I start playing? And she was like, yeah, about 18 months.
Yeah.
It's like about 18 months because I didn't have a playpen when I was a baby. Like I basically just had a piano and she could clean the whole house and not worry about me going anywhere. I could just sit at the piano. She just put me on the piano bench and I'd like just listen. Like, you know, most kids will bang on the piano.
Yeah.
I would just kind of play individual notes and listen to them. Like, So that
Dude,
that was my intro.
God, not many people get that. Like, and this is something I want to share with you because my very first memory, like one of my early memories, is being in a car seat and listening to the windshield wipers go back and forth and like creating a fucking symphony in my brain. You know what I'm saying? And like a lot of people can learn how to play an instrument, but it's a totally different experience when you have music like inside of you. Like it's just how we're constructed. So how was it for you growing up? Like I read your mom.
Well, the difference is when people are learning to play an instrument to get something from the instrument.
Yeah.
And I'm learning to play an instrument to release something from me.
Yeah.
So it's the travel that makes the difference, where it's coming from and where it's going. It's not so I can see something on the page and get it. It's so I can produce it and give it to the world, you know?
Yeah. It's the best feeling, I think. It's a lot of responsibility if you want to do it wisely and
If
actually
you
put
care,
quality things
then
out,
yes.
Yeah.
It is whether you care or not, but you don't feel it if you don't care.
Yeah. Can I ask you, because you grew up gifted, did you go through a period of time where you just felt a little bit awkward and different, like, or unsettled in your skin, or were you able to always have a support system around you to sort of nurture your
I mean, I
talents?
didn't have a huge. I would say neither really. I didn't have a huge support system. I had my mother who was always supportive.
Mhm.
She just basically followed my lead as far as what um, my propensities were. She followed that and allowed me to do that. Like she put me in piano lessons, and I was like, I don't want to do this anymore, and so she let me quit.
Yeah, yeah,
Like whatever, I'll play. I'm gonna play. I'm not quitting to not play. I'm quitting to play like I want to play.
yeah, yeah.
I quit college the same way. I left college to learn. I didn't leave college not to learn. I left college because it was wasting my time, and what I needed to know, it wasn't teaching me, and it was charging me for it.
Yeah, yeah.
So I was like, nah.
Now you had you talked about this in a previous interview,
So
which
tone,
I freaking love. You talked about your incubation period
yeah,
because you knew you were focused on what you wanted to do.
yeah,
So just can you talk about that a little bit? I think this is something I talk to my viewers a lot about is letting yourself be still in those quiet times because they're not really dormant. They're
yes.
preparing you for the next level, you
They're just
know?
quiet. They're not dormant, right? So I just mentioned I dropped out of college, but where I went to college was Huntsville, Alabama. I went to Oakwood College, which is where Take Six went, and Brian Knight went there for a while. His brother's in Take Six. Um, but I stayed there for 2 years, but I stayed in Alabama for 9 years.
Yeah.
And that's what I call my incubation period because I went from it's almost kind of a boys to men experience in music, especially because that's where I got my first studio. That's where I started putting things together and learning how to produce for real. Was there up until I got to Alabama. I only played piano,
Yeah.
so I started playing everything else after I was 19, which started with guitar and then went to bass. I didn't play organ until I got to California, which was
Yeah.
2015. So I didn't really plan to play any more instruments. Every time I pick up an instrument, I don't plan to play anymore, but it
Hmm.
just happened. But that Huntsville experience was my incubation period. And the thing about that is, in order for incubation periods to work, you have to be self-motivated.
Absolutely.
It's the whole thing about incubation is you're in a place that doesn't require anything of you. So
Except
you can learn,
self-determination,
except, right,
Yeah.
except for you to learn on your own. It's not asking you to do it. It's just there for you to figure it out. And that's what Huntsville was for me. So when I came out here in 2015, I'm overqualified for anything they could ask me to do in music at all because I spent that entire 9 years killing everything that wasn't helping me
Yeah.
and embracing everything that was.
I
And
love
9 years is longer than people go. I mean, that's over twice as long as people go to college. So that's like having a doctorate. I've been in school longer than doctors.
Yeah. Yeah.
You
I
know,
always call myself a life learner. I just think that's such an important
always,
component
always.
of growing into your greatness. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I think Chris said it the best, like last week. I talked to a friend of mine who's an actor, and he talked about, you never want to be the smartest person in the room
No,
because that gives you no place to grow to,
yeah,
you know? So, and I think there's so much that you have to take into account during that realization, because you want to understand that there's always going to be someone you can learn from, and to keep yourself in a humble spot, like, because
yeah.
I dude, you're good as hell, but you're also humble, and you have such a good sense of humor too, and you know what I'm saying. And it's like, you could do shit on your own, but another thing I appreciate
Oh
about
yeah,
you is just the art of collaboration and how you
oh
are
yeah.
able to leave yourself open to learning and working with other people. So can talk about that a little bit.
So yeah, collaboration is the only way to make it. So I mean, you can lock yourself up in a room, but who's going to know you exist?
Yeah.
Most of the time, when someone makes it, someone else has a vision. You're part of that vision. So you hitch yourself to something in order to make it. You don't just make it on your own. You know, I tell my students all the time, favor is the most valuable thing in the world. Not money, not anything else. You can get money with favor, but you can't get favor with money.
Yeah.
So favor is what's going to get you wherever you're going. There's no positive thing that can happen to a human being without another person making a decision in their favor. Everything takes another person saying, yeah, sign up on it, get a house, get an apartment. Anything the good that happens to you, somebody's got to do something in your favor. So that's the most valuable thing in the world. And the currency that you develop from that can't be done on your own. So the reason that I'm 100%er, which in the industry basically means that, well, it technically means you can have 100% of the publishing on a record, because the track side and the lyric and melody side are 50% each. I exist on both sides, so I can actually make an entire record and own 100%. But the reason that I'm 100%er isn't so that I can do 100% of an individual record. It's so that I can fill whatever gap is in the room.
Absolutely.
So there's absolutely no room in the world where music is being made where I wouldn't be valuable. That's why I'm 100%er, more than if I'm in a room by myself. You know, you see me in a room by myself in my live all the time. And what happens when I'm in a room by myself? But I didn't get to the point where it makes any sense to do it in a room by myself.
Yeah. Well, and that's the flip side too, right? Because like as creatives, we need to have that time where we could just be by ourselves, you know?
Yeah, we do.
But
We need
but
time to.
yeah, people who have an inability to just be able to transform that, you know, and you know, like I've been doing this like on the outskirts for a very long time. Right now I'm like jumping in, but like the more I talk to people who have made it in the field of creativity, whatever it is, there are certain character traits that everybody has in common.
Yeah.
You know, have you noticed that with who you're talking to as
For
well, man?
sure, 100%.
Yeah.
You know, I always say I'm a conduit. I'm a pipe, not a jar.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm not there to just hold stuff. I'm there for things to go through, not for things to go in, and that's it. Right. So it's important for me, because I know that about myself, and I do feel the responsibility of what I am and what I can do, to place myself around legends, but also around people who are trying to become where I am and where they are at the same time, because I'm a conduit. So I'm learning from them. But there's so many people who never get a chance to be in a studio with somebody like Dr. Dre or Babyface or somebody like that, where I get a lot of confirmation from. You know, just being in the room with these people and realizing how alike we think gives me a certain amount of confirmation, because, okay, this person has 126 top 10 records and we're vibing right now. So I see why he's him. So then I can see why the things about me make me me. So that type of confirmation happens for people in other fields easier than it does here, because of the fame aspect and how hard it is to get to people that really do this because of all that. Because, you know, in other industries, there's no fame. So you can get to a GM, you can get to a CEO and just talk to them. You can't necessarily always do that in music with the elite. You have to be in there working with them to even find out a lot of things. But somebody can talk to me and I can tell them, yo, you know, like this, for instance, right? People ask me all the time, this Chaotica eyeball, right, that I endorse. They're like, man, I gotta get a room so I can cut vocals. No, you don't.
Yeah.
Well, how's that gonna sound? As soon as I say Dr. Dre doesn't use the vocal booth anymore, they don't have to think anymore.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, that's really all I need. Did you hear Compton? Yes. We recorded all that next to a console with one of those.
I love it.
That's me being a conduit, and that's them not having to think of that anymore. And spending $200 instead of making a whole room that they don't have to make. That kind of stuff on a deeper level as well is part of the reason that I and people like me exist. But we don't always when you get to a place where you're dealing with those people, a lot of times you shut off the rest of the world because it takes so much to exist there, and you're happy to be there. You're just there. But it's important for me to exist inside and outside of there, to be able to touch the actual public and stay in touch with other than the people that I just work with.
Yeah.
You know, not just because they're the greatest, you know, because they're who they are. I should be, whatever I internalize from them that might help someone else, why not deliver that information to them, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. I think your passion for teaching and creating education
Yeah.
routes for people, you know, and like you said too, this is not about a college degree. This is people with innate like passion for music, you know, who, you know, when I was growing up, we didn't have YouTube that we could just pop on,
I didn't
you know?
either.
So if I were to have
Yeah.
found someone like you know, like legit 20 years ago teaching me how to build a song from scratch, you know, I would probably wouldn't have to spend like 6 months learning audio engineering. You know what
Well,
I'm
guess
saying?
what?
Like,
Me
so
too.
yeah.
If I would have found a me 20 years ago, it would have taken care of a whole lot of trial and error.
Yeah. Yeah.
But there was no me for me.
Yeah. So I think
There's a
ultimately
lot of
when we
guessing.
do things like this, it's because really we're trying to satisfy that part of ourselves that has compassion for other people.
Right.
And we really like, I think that conduit spectrum of things is the coolest place to fucking be, man. Because let me tell you, I intend on being world famous. However,
I never did. I don't
I
like
know.
that idea at all.
No, I'm manifesting that bitch. However,
Okay, okay.
that's just my own thought process.
As you should.
No, but I'm always going to be humble. You know what I'm saying? Like I
Yeah.
don't get starstruck. I keep
Yeah.
myself grounded to
Yeah.
like people working real jobs. Like, because for me as a musician, like my favorite moments were when I have the layman after I play the song come up to me with like tears in their eyes. Oh my God, that touched me. Now, if I shut myself off to that person, how am I going to know how to evolve as an artist? And how am I even going to learn to appreciate my gift if I'm not hearing it from the voices of the people that are listening to it? You know
At
what I'm
the
saying? So,
very least, you miss those moments. At the very
yes,
least,
yes.
you
You
miss that
know,
moment.
so I don't want to. I don't want to. And I
Why do
think
we do
it's
this at the end of the day?
exactly,
You know,
exactly.
music, that's another thing I tell myself. Music is for the sole purpose of transference of emotion.
Yeah.
Music is not for informational purposes. If you want to transfer information, write a book, write an essay, be a journalist.
Dude, I have to interject real quick. I mean, tell that to the person who wrote the ABC song. Okay.
if you
I'm just saying.
if you want to make music, your job is to emote into somebody.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of psychology involved, and there's a lot of emotion involved, and you have to be in touch with it in order to send it to someone else. You can't send something you can't pour out of an empty container.
Yeah. Yeah.
So whatever's in the container is what you can pour out of it. And
Let's
that's
talk a
what
little
we
bit
have to
about that for a
understand as
second,
musicians.
Mr. Erik. Let's talk about that whole truth in performance component, because that sets aside the timeless songs versus like the songs that are just going to be out there. And I think so many times the majority of people aren't even listening to what's going on within a song. And this is why I love your music, because you are great at storytelling. So can you talk a little bit about that, the truth in the story and implementing it?
Okay, so there's a lot.
I know. Sorry, I asked loaded
That's
questions, baby.
that's a lot. That's a lot. You know, I'm really big on train of thought when I write lyrics. So every area of music is what you're talking about. I know what you're talking about because it's not just lyrical; it's also musical.
Yeah.
The journey is in everything, literally everything that you hear. But from a lyrical standpoint, train of thought is important because it keeps you there, right? If you're listening to a song of mine, you're not in my presence. You're in your car, you're driving around, you're in your house, you're cleaning, you're listening to my song away from me. So I'm not there to be like, yo, this next part is crazy, listen to this.
Yeah.
The song has to do that. The song has to be me in your house. Like, no, you thought this part was good. Listen to the next part. I got to psychologically put that in your head without being there.
Yeah.
And the way I do that is I always use the analogy of a bird, feeding a bird with seed, right? So the idea is to get the bird from point A to point B. Because I got the beginning of the song, I want you to hear the whole thing. So, okay, if I lay them down too close to each other, it'll get full and go away. But if I lay them down too far away from each other, then it won't get full and it'll find something else that can feed it faster. So I have to lay them down exactly the way the bird needs to in order to get to the end.
Yeah.
Every payoff has to be the kind of payoff that it should be where it is in the record. So like when you're thinking, I just like this line sounds cool, that's a lower level of writing. Right? That's not the highest level of thinking when it comes to songwriting. Because it's really purpose driven. It's not about how dope the line is. It's about what purpose it fulfills at that point in the record. That point in the record, this needs to happen. We need to not give away this, but we need to give them this much of a payoff so that they can understand that they should listen to the rest of it.
Mm-hmm.
That is an art that you have to be extremely confident in your ability to even think that way, because you're not hung up on how good an individual line is. You can always think of a good line, but is it doing what it's supposed to be doing right here in the song?
Yeah.
You know, I'll be sitting down with Babyface and the line will be what someone would call perfect. What most would be like, oh, that sounds so dope. But he'll be like, it's not enough of a payoff. It's not enough of a payoff. And a lot of times we'll just leave and come back the next day. Like, it's not coming. Like, that's really dope. We'll call that a plan B. And then we'll go home and come back. And then the next day, it usually happens right away because you're fresh.
Yeah.
You know, but all of that is part of the creative process. But that truth is important because you really can't emote something that you're not in touch with. You can emote something that you haven't experienced.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same thing you do when you're acting. That's why people, you know, they assume when you write something that it's about your life. I don't hardly ever write about what's going on in my life.
You just get it. You get like human nature, you get human interaction. Right. You're a good observer, and that's why you're able to translate so well what you see through your gift of music, you know?
And it's empathy.
Yes.
Because I'm able to internalize what another person feels or would feel.
Mm-hmm.
And if you can't do that, then you can't transmit it.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, well, what would that feel like? Even if I haven't experienced it, I've had human emotions before, so I can apply them to the situation as they would be and write them. I wrote a song about having a first child when I was 18, right? And I wrote it with a father, and I wrote most of it. He was like, how are you writing about having a kid this way? Like, that's exactly what it feels like.
Mm-hmm.
But I'd never had a kid.
Yeah. You just put yourself in that situation.
I'm
sure you had a toy that you really loved, or like, and that's the thing. That's the psychology part of it,
right? So since I was a kid, all I did was flip perspective.
Mm-hmm.
So perspective is a tool. You're looking at the exact same thing from a different place. So I think more of what I did was think of how it is to be a kid and then how it must be to look from the other place.
Yeah.
So it's another form of empathy. It's another form of being able to put yourself in another place emotionally where another person would be. So I tell people all the time, the best person is the best songwriter.
Yeah.
You're the unselfish person is the best artist. You know, the unselfish person is the best artist, because if you're just trying to gratify yourself, you defeat the purpose of making music.
Yeah.
Like, what do we make this for our own personal enjoyment?
Dude, not at all. And this is how I feel too, right? Because listen, you have it like inside of you, right? And I've talked about this before too. When it's inside of you, it's not meant to be held on to. It's meant to be given away.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I always think of it like I feel like I have a direct connection to something celestial, you know what I'm saying? To God even. And I
Yes.
feel like I'm getting messages that it's my responsibility to tell people if I'm being provided with this information,
Right.
you know, if it's to make somebody happy
Yeah.
or even give them a reason to cry or, you know,
Mhm.
just pose something that like you did in your song, right? It's a really deep song, but it has a happy tune to it. You know what I'm saying? Like there's a way of getting messages out that are socially
We're
like
some sneaky people,
acceptable,
we songwriters, we
right?
producers.
Exactly.
Yeah. We can sneak you a concept, we can
And
when
have you
I
thinking big and
like
not
No
even
Air,
know
for
it.
instance, like when I made No Air for Jordan Sparks and Chris Brown, that song is very ethereal and it's very whimsical. It has a airy type of actually loving type of feeling to it,
Yeah.
but it's not about that. It's
Yeah.
about not being with the person that you want to be with. But it also
Absolutely.
feels like that. So it's like it's hanging. It's you can be in between emotions and you can be true to both of them, but your choices can't be based upon I like this chord.
Yeah.
It can't be based upon I want to show people how well I can play. Is that what No Air? No, like it's four triads. It's not. There's nothing. I never go crazy with chords in there.
Yeah. Yeah.
You think I don't play like I do from that song because
Because
that
it's very
song.
blocked. Yeah.
But I put the It's more about the sonics than it is about the music,
Hmm.
and that is one of the most important things that no one teaches.
Yeah. Yeah.
Everybody teaches music. Hardly anyone teaches sonics, and sonics is more important to the success of a record than music is.
Agreed.
If I had picked four different chords, but I put the same effects on them and I used the same sounds and I arranged the drums the same way, maybe with slightly different drums. So okay. Um, Drum on the 2 and 4. That's a musical decision. Which drum is a sonic decision?
Yeah.
So every time I'm making a decision, I'm making two decisions at the same time. Why this snare? Why this kick? This kick because of what I'm going to do to it sonically. It may not even sound like I needed to when I hear it, but I know what I'm going to do to it to make it sound like I needed to. And I may need another one to go this way. But I'm thinking from an emotional place. I'm not thinking from this snare sounds good. A snare that sounds good by itself is of no use to me.
Yeah.
It needs to sound a certain way to emote a certain way. And I'm never thinking from any other perspective. But that comes from getting skills into you. So like you envelop skills so that whatever the song calls for, you can deliver. Not so every song can include your highest difficulty level. Like difficulty level doesn't make a hit, doesn't make a successful anything. It's not about the difficulty level of what it took to make it. It's about decisions, period. It's about what decisions were made.
Yeah.
Some decisions require a lot of skill, some decisions don't require a lot of skill, but the song doesn't care about that. The song only cares about what it needs.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like your baby is crying for food. Well, it doesn't know if you have to go to the store to get it or if you could just grab it out of the fridge. It just needs the food.
Hmm.
It doesn't care how hard or easy it was when it gets it. And that's how the listener is too. They don't know how many takes it took
Yeah.
to get the way you make me feel. They don't know those background. They don't know how if he just did it in one take on all those tracks or not. Do they care? No.
Yeah.
They also don't care how good you are, really. They care how good the song sounds. And that's their idea of how good you are. So if you take 100 takes to do something and somebody else takes 10, to the listener, neither of those things matter at all.
Hmm.
Are you willing to take those 100 takes? That
Do you
matters.
do you personally find it challenging to know when a song is finished? Like, is that something you struggle with?
Not really. Because a song is finished when it feels a certain way.
Hmm.
and nothing is detracting from that feeling. So the thing about a mistake or something that wasn't recorded or executed properly is, I call it, it's like bad acting, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when the song begins, I want you to be in this song until the song is over. Psychologically, that can't happen if anything takes you out of that moment. So it's like if someone acts poorly, what it does to you as a watcher is it takes you out of the reality of the movie. You notice that they're acting now, and now you're not inside the movie for however long you're thinking that way, and it messes up your experience. So I'm not even just thinking of, oh, that was a mistake, I got to correct that, period. Some mistakes I don't have to correct. Just the ones that would make someone distracted even for a moment. I don't even want you to, if you do that, I want it to be because something was so nice. Not because something distracted you from the song and now you're not in it for that split second. That's when you flip to another song. That's when you use the bathroom in the auditorium. That's when you
Yeah, no
I
doubt.
don't want that. That's that when I don't hear any of that and there's an aerodynamic path of emotion from you to the song and back, I'm done.
Yeah. I love it. I love it, love it, love it. We had a question. Somebody actually said, how do you learn about sonics? I think for me, it's just like you're listening. You know what I'm saying? You're playing around with sound and
Yeah.
you're seeing
So
what it can do.
if I wanted to learn specifically about sonics, I would talk to a mixing engineer.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't talk to a producer. I would talk to a mixing engineer. The fact that I am a mixing engineer completely informs the way that I produce.
Yeah.
Because I know what's going to happen to it through the entire process of making music. So if you do something on the front end, you should know how the back end works. Because that's what it's really going to sound like. So that's just, I would watch Dave Pensado's, Into the Labs. He's one of the best in the world. I did an interview with him. You might have seen it. Watch him and why he makes the decisions that he makes.
Yeah.
And then when you're producing, you'll know which snare. That's how you know. It's like, what frequencies are represented in this sound?
Yeah.
And is it punchy or is it boomy? Or is it part of what I need even? Because No Air has three kicks. But you can't just put 3 kicks in a song. It'll mess the song up most of the time if you do that.
Mm-hmm.
Because low frequencies together will cancel each other out. And they'll phase, and it'll sound absolutely disgustingly horrible.
Yeah.
Now, if it was tape, it might be different because tape actually builds sound on sound. Digital does this.
Totally
So
different
when the wave
beat.
is doing this, it actually does this. So however many degrees it is out of phase, especially in bass frequencies, is going to mess it up. But those 3 kicks serve 3 entirely different purposes.
Yeah.
And, even just listen to my song No Air and saying, how are these 3 kicks living in this song? What is each one of them doing? One of them is because, so emotional content. A lot of high-end information in a song. A lot of, close to 20 hertz. A lot of highs is creates energy. It creates a feeling of happiness or excitement or something like that, right? I don't want a happy track when I make No Air, right? I didn't want it to be happy. I wanted you to be able to sit in it and think or feel, and I didn't want anything to lift you out of that, right? So there's a kick in there that does the work that a hi-hat would do, but there's no hi-hat in the song.
Yeah.
There's a shaker. There's no hi-hat. So you just get this, but there's a kick happening really fast. What you would do with a hi-hat is happening in the low frequencies because you get the rhythm, but you don't get the levity.
Yeah.
I'm not lifting you out of it, but I'm giving you the rhythm that you need to keep it interesting with a third kick. So, but these decisions weren't like, I just need 3 kicks in this song. That's what I do.
Yes.
It was because of that was the thought process of that third kick. One is the stomp, but the stomp doesn't have enough attack. It's like, boom, right? I want that boom type of sound, but it has to have an attack. So I put another kick at the beginning of that. That happens every 2 bars or so. And then the third kick happens with it every 2 bars, but in the middle of that is doing the things that a hi-hat would do, because I want the rhythm, but I don't want the... So that's like, you know, it's a split-second decision for me, but that's where it comes from.
Dude, it's sort of like, I love the 7 Habits of Highly, oh golly, you ever read the 7 Habits book? They talk about... So they talk about reverse engineering, though. Stephen Covey talks about reverse engineering.
Yes.
So, and always thinking you're starting something with the end in mind is one of the principles. You know what I'm saying? So it's like it's very applicable to what we're talking about. Because, you know, I think when we're starting out like young songwriters, and anybody who is out there listening right now, we just know we have something in our head. We need to get it out, and we need to put it down. But that's the difference between somebody who is a layman and growing yourself to be like that professional, right? Yes. So it's not enough to just write a song. Like you have got to start thinking differently, you know?
Yeah.
So that's a really important part of the process.
If I had made exactly the same decisions with different sounds, it could have sounded good, but not professional. Yeah. It's like, it's a good song. I like that song, but it wouldn't have been a smash. Yeah. Because the sonics weren't right. And the human doesn't just respond to music. The human responds to sonics. It responds to how much high frequencies and low frequencies exist. You know, that pad in no air is a sound that it's just in Logic. It's not it comes with Logic. Logic is a $200 program. It's the strings from Logic. They're horrible. Like, it's a horrible patch, right? The string patch in Logic I'd never use under normal circumstances. But I knew I was going to put that filter on it, and it contains the frequencies that if I put that filter on it, and I just have that, oh, basically that's what it's doing. Yeah. It's not saying, it's saying, oh, like that. I took the high frequencies out, I took the low frequencies out, and I resonated the middle. So that's why it sounds so eerie, and that's why it sounds so great. But that bad patch that I used was perfect for that. If I had used a really nice string patch, it actually wouldn't have come out as perfect, because I'm not listening to how nice is this patch. I'm listening to what frequencies are represented here. Yes. For me to do sonically what I need to do, this horrible patch has exactly what I need. Yeah. So I'm going, but it's always from an emotional standpoint, and it has to do with the sonics that create the emotion that I want. Yeah. I think it's awesome too. You're such an out of the box thinker when it comes to sounds. You know what I'm saying? And that's cool. And just like you said, you wouldn't typically use the strings, but you were thinking things all the way through. What have also been good choices when you thought about, maybe I should try this and let's see where this goes, you know? Have there been, like, you know, let's talk about some fails. Let's talk about some learning experiences that you've gone through to get to those happen in every situation, because, you know, sometimes you have an idea, but you still got to throw it against the wall and see if it sticks. Yeah. Like spaghetti. Yeah. Yeah. If it's too soupy, it's just going to run down the wall. And then that's right. What we want is spaghetti on the wall. That's what we want. Exactly. So we got to try stuff, but everything I do is at least an educated guess. Yeah. But I know, and every time something doesn't work, then I know even more what will. Because, okay, I understand why that didn't work when I try it. Now I know I can use this, and that second try might be the one that works. You know, but that's part of the process. Like, okay, I really want to create this emotion. Will this snare do it? You know, I'm sure you probably see me go through 25 snares to get to something that I'm looking for. And then while I'm looking, I'll hear one and say, I could use that for something else. And that ends up in the song because I get a suggestion from what I hear. And I think it's a good suggestion. So it's almost like I'm collaborating with the sounds in my palette.
Fucking love it, dude. I'm sorry. I just like, maybe some people don't get what you're saying as far as like sound is just so amazing and I love it so much, and like there's so much you could do with it, you know? Like so it's just I'm really enjoying what you're talking about right now.
Yeah, I'm collaborating all the time. I'm collaborating with the
Yeah.
sounds. I'm in my computer. I'm
I know,
collabing with the
cool.
keyboard, with the synth. Like, okay, that's making a suggestion. So every time something makes a suggestion, I'm listening to that suggestion. Like, oh, this song could go in another direction at any moment.
Yes.
If I feel like that thing is better than the thing I'm thinking of. But that happens because the sound inspired me to do a thing. Because everything I've ever heard is my influence. So, like, people are like, what influences you? What doesn't? Bad, terrible songs influence me. I can make a great song from the ingredients of a horrible one. A good cake has the same ingredients as a bad cake.
Exactly. It's all about
It's
the
how
taste.
you
It's not
bake
what
it.
it looks
It's the
like.
proportions with which you use it. But it's not different ingredients. It's not even a cake if it's different ingredients. It's not a song if it's different ingredients. It's the same ingredients. It's 12 notes in the whole world.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's 12 notes in the whole world. There's 88 keys, but there's 12 notes repeated over and over again.
Yeah.
In everybody's keyboard. I don't, you got chords. I don't have chords. I can't, they had a name before. It's like Christopher Columbus. Chords had a name before I got here. I don't own chords. I don't have any. Somebody has voiced this exactly like this before, and it's been like millions of people to do it.
Yeah.
All I can do is arrange it in a way that maybe somebody hasn't thought of, or put this sound with that sound in a different way.
Yeah.
I can do more new sonically than I can do musically.
Mm-hmm.
I can create a sound better than I can create a chord. I can't create a chord, but I can create a sound. And that's why people should understand sonics is arguably more important than what you learn musically. Because if you can't play, Oscar Peterson's greatest hits, I can play some things from Oscar Peterson. I can play some stuff from Art Tatum. I mean, if I practice hard enough, I could play all of it, but that would take my whole life. So I'm definitely never going to do that.
It's too much time.
I'm never going to do that. Just so I can play like Art. No. But, how is that going to make you a hit record?
Yeah.
Is a hit record is pretty much never going to sound like Art Tatum. It's never going to sound like, and even if it does sound like somebody like Art Tatum or Herbie Hancock, right? The hit records aren't the ones that require the most skill.
Yeah. Yeah.
Watermelon Man is not the one that requires everything that Herbie Hancock has within him.
Yeah.
But it's the one that touches the people the most because the people don't know what the hell all that is.
Yeah.
Right? They can't relate to after a certain level. We are actually just building skill and speaking to each other. There's a place for that as well. And it helps us to grow. Because look, if you're able to lift 300 pounds and you have to lift 100 pounds, and another guy is able to lift 100 pounds, that 100 pounds is hella easier for you.
Yeah.
Because you can lift 300 pounds. It doesn't mean you're supposed to always lift 300 pounds, but it makes 100 way easier.
Yes, absolutely.
That's how I think of it, of the difficulty level of what I do. I'm able to do a whole lot of stuff that won't be called upon me in a normal situation. However, I often find myself in abnormal situations because of that.
Yeah.
like in the studio with Dre, I may actually be called upon to play something like Oscar Peterson would or something like that for him to do some craziness that he's got in his head.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's why he likes me to be around because, well, I can do that, but I can also simplify it to a level that I'm not always trying to do that. At every level of skill and difficulty, I can perform, regardless of that level and without respect for the level. Mm-hmm. It's just about what needs to be done, and executing.
Yes. Oh, freaking awesome. Freaking awesome. Dude, so you came out here. I know you were on your grind, like as a musician, like just trying to play and get your presence known.
When I got to LA?
Yeah. can you just give some honesty about the process? Like, things don't always happen overnight, man. And like, this is what people need to understand. I always preach saying focused on your goals, but you got to keep working. It's about being the dreamer, but also being the dreamer doer. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Being focused on your goals becomes more and more powerful if you're good at setting goals and having proper goals. Like, to me, an award is a low-level goal.
Agreed.
Like, that doesn't tell me anything, because I won a Grammy doesn't actually tell me anything. I mean, it tells me that some people thought the song was good and better than the ones that existed at the same time in the same area. That's really dope. I love that. It's great. But that's not my goal. My goal is the contribution that I'm supposed to make.
Yes,
To the
your
world.
Legacy. This is all about legacy.
Yeah, it's not about I gotta win this or be recognized for that. Those are byproducts of what I want.
Yes.
And they're natural byproducts of what I want. So why would I need to think about those? I'm thinking about who I am first, what I am second. Those are two different things. And what I do. Those should all be related in a grandfather, father, son relationship. What you do should be determined by what you are. What you are should be determined by who you are.
Yeah.
So the first thing you need to know is who you are.
Yes.
I know who I am. I know why I'm here. So there's a contribution that that person who is me is supposed to make. That is what I'm on the path to doing. So it's not exactly a particular way station or event or line that I cross that I reach my goal. No, it's just I'm on a continual path of reaching what I want to do all the time.
I talk about this all the time. It's called transformation continuum, right? Because we're just growing into more of who we are. And I think when you come out here in a situation in life, you're constantly going to be presented with choices that you have to make, right?
Yeah.
And not just the things that happen to you, but the way you allow them to sort of mold and shape who you are, right? You might go through something and be like, okay, that's not me, right? Yeah. So that shapes you for the next time around.
Absolutely.
And if you could just develop that insight and self-awareness for whatever you do in life, like be it a musician or just like
Step number one.
Grocery store worker, whoever, man, like these
are
life skills we have all need to learn, you know? Yeah.
Like, how do you know how to put it together if you don't know it's a table?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, doesn't it help for you to know it's a table when you bring it home from IKEA? What if you just didn't even know? What if you just had it, no pictures or nothing? It was like, I'm just going to put this together. Following the instructions would get you there. But if it's not a purpose-driven situation, it wouldn't make much sense to you, and you wouldn't have the same experience. And you might not know what to do with it. And if you make a mistake, I think
that's why so many people, when they do make it, if that isn't their purpose, right? No matter what you do, you're not going to feel it as much. You're not going to have that gratitude for it as much because you're not living your purpose, you know, or you didn't place the purpose behind the action.
Right. So to your question about coming here and making it, the way I did it, so, you know, I only played piano until I was 19.
Yeah.
And then everybody went on Christmas break at school and I didn't go. And some guy named Desmond left his guitar. He was like, yo, can I just leave this here while I go? He left it in my room. And I was like, yeah, just put it in the closet. I never intended to play guitar. I had picked up a guitar 6 months before. Yeah, I'm a keyboard player, and just put it down. I just never intended to play guitar. But nobody's on campus. I'm there entirely by myself. Like, I'm a hermit right now.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, this is guitar. And this is kind of like a weekend. So really, like, it's a weekend to a 2-week vacation when I actually started playing it. And then I picked it up out of the thing. And for some reason that time, it started to make sense. So I wrote like 2 songs with it before they got back. Right? So everybody was like, I thought you didn't play guitar.
Exactly. But,
and then I said, I didn't. And then they were even more confused. Like, wait. So, but that was my thing with guitar. However, and then like a month later, I put myself in front of 2,000 people. Like, I just started playing for a church that had 2,000 members in it on guitar.
That's awesome, man.
I need to
I
get
try to
better as fast
listen.
as possible.
I have a very similar guitar playing story to yours where like I got one for Christmas and my mom gave it to me and I went out onto the back porch and just played around with it and 2 songs later I come out I'm
Yeah,
like, look what I
see?
can do, you know what I'm
Okay,
saying?
I'm a guitarist now.
However, I went to do an open mic night on the guitar because piano is where I sort of like how things happen for me a little bit better.
Yeah.
And this little old lady, she is so sweet. She's from the South and she's like, bless your heart, I would stick to the piano.
Bless your heart. So, so I picked it up. I play it now. Okay, cool. I'm gonna put myself and I'm gonna make my mistakes in front of 2,000 people. I don't
That's
care.
awesome. Yes.
It's a better place to make mistakes. I'm gonna make my mistakes there. If he lets me play this thing in front of 2,000 people, he don't even know I just picked it up. He ain't got to know all that.
Yeah.
Hey man, you need somebody to play guitar, and I'm in an area where there's not a whole lot of guitar players. There's a million keyboard players, not a whole lot of guitar players. So I don't have a whole lot of competition. Like, yo, you need somebody to play? Cool. So I got up there and I play. So then a few years later, I moved to California. The only thing I brought to California was one guitar and one suitcase. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody in California knew I played anything but guitar for months and months. I didn't tell them. They didn't ask, right? Because guitars are portable. Not only guitar is portable, my guitar, well, it's not even in here. I wish I could show it to you, but it was a particular sunburst that I've never seen on another guitar before. Mm-hmm. So when I'm around town playing guitar at every club in the world, I'm the new guy on guitar. I'm 6'4", and I'm playing this guitar that looks like no other guitar in the world. So I'm commanding attention, and they've never seen me before. So then when they hear me, and they hear me a way they've never heard me before, it becomes sensational.
Yeah.
Because as big as this town is, you already know, it ain't.
Exactly.
It's like 3 guitars that play everywhere.
Exactly.
So when I jump off the banana boat, like, here I am, everybody's like, we got a new guitarist in town. So I ended up playing everywhere. I didn't complicate the issue by saying, well, you know, I play keys too. I just played the guitar everywhere. Mm-hmm. And that was my key to the city. I didn't say anything else until I got into a studio environment or something else was required in the environment that I got to from playing the guitar. But in those environments, I never mentioned anything about playing anything else, singing, writing, nothing. I was becoming known in the city. So I kept it very simple, and it's branding at the end of the day.
Absolutely.
The guitar's look, my presence is all branding. And when people get used to something, let them get used to it. Mm-hmm. Don't complicate it. If I would have started playing keys and guitar all over the place, somebody would have been like, yo, that tall dude that just came in town to play his keys, and they would talk to somebody else. I know a tall dude that plays guitar. They would have thought they were talking about 2 different people.
Yeah.
That dilutes my branding.
Golly, I want to interject. People, are you listening to like these nuggets of wisdom? Please pay attention to what he's saying.
Yeah, Tony, it was a Fender Strat.
Man, oh man.
It was a Fender Strat because the Fender Strat is a multi-purpose guitar. You're going to be able to play whatever you need to play with that. I mean, you could do it with a Telly too, but a Fender is a little more versatile. It doesn't exactly do what a Telly does, but it's going to do what I need it to do in these R&B night and pop night situations in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
So that was it. And when I got to the studio, I started playing guitar for a guy. And then the guy who was the MD for the guy just started not showing up and being super just real flaky. Yeah. And then I ended up being the MD. And then he was like, somebody needs to know who you are, and took me to the Underdogs, who I didn't even know who the Underdogs were at the time. And there was a 9-foot grand in there. So I played the 9-foot grand.
You have to.
And literally what I played that day is the same thing. Damon Thomas met me that day, and what I played that day is the same thing he has me play for everybody, even to this day when I meet them. Yo, play that thing. You know what I'm talking about. You know, you play the thing you played. I know what he's talking about because it's always that song. He was so impressed by that. Yeah. I wasn't trying to impress him. I was trying to hear the piano. Yeah. I just wanted to play the piano, right? Because it's a 9-foot grand. I later played that piano all over the Dreamgirls soundtrack. I didn't know I was going to do that at the time. Yeah. I just played the piano. He called everybody out of every room in the world. Was like, yo, listen to this. If I had been trying to impress him, I would have picked something else. But that struck him in a place where he was like, you know things that I want to know.
Yeah, yeah.
It made him think that way. Like, this is somebody that I can learn from. And just like Dre says all the time, I don't want anybody around me I can't learn from.
And it's freaking Dre, dude. Like, honestly,
Yeah.
people have to understand you have got to keep yourself in a humble
It's freaking
spot.
Dre. It's freaking Babyface. It's freaking
All of them.
Quincy
Common
Jones.
Heat.
It's freaking Teddy Riley. It's everybody.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
all of it. Like, if you don't get to be these people without being that person.
Yes.
It's not they get the cause and effect messed up. Like, I'm gonna learn as much as I need to until I get really good. Then I don't need to learn anymore. Nobody great thinks like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, 0 people who are great think like that. There is not one person who is great who thinks like that, who's satisfied with how much they've learned. That just doesn't happen. So we're all learning we're a mutual admiration society. We're always a fan of each other. And we have our opinions. We have the things that we feel strongly about, and we sell those ideas to each other, and we bounce them off each other. Mm-hmm. But we respect each other so much that it works.
Yeah.
It's not ego-driven. An ego-driven society is not a collaborative one.
No.
It's not a collaborative society. And if you got a bunch of ego-driven cats in the studio, that's just not. I will leave.
Yeah, absolutely. I love the synergy that's involved. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Oh my gosh, it's all about synergy, man. You get great minds together that are humble, and holy shit, what can come out of those moments is just the most beautiful thing to be present for, you know? Why would you want to miss that?
Truly great minds are humble. That's the thing about humility. But people get humility all jacked up. Humility doesn't mean... Okay, so let me help some people right now, right? Because a whole lot of people diminish what they can do because they know that it makes other people feel uncomfortable if you're good at something and you know it. Which is real stupid. Why would you think I'm going to get in front of 5,000 people on stage and not know I'm good at what I'm about to do? You want both. You want me to not know that I'm good at it, but you want me to be willing to get on stage and entertain you. That don't even make sense. Why would you do that? You want me to be stupid. But anyway, that's another thing. Humility is not saying, oh, I'm decent when you're really good.
Yeah.
That's not humility. Humility is knowing where the confidence you have comes from, right? So we're all gifted, right? So whatever your place where you consider that gift is from, we're gifted. So I have a lot of skill that I had to develop, but that skill is developed on top of talent, which is the propensity to develop skill in a particular area. So I found early on that I had enough talent where if I put enough energy into that, I would become as skilled as I am. Mm-hmm. That's the difference between talent and skill. But at the point at which I am, if somebody asks me, how good are you at making music? Extremely. Like, I'm really, really good at that. Like, I can't even really tell you how good I am at that. That's just work.
Yeah.
Because, hell, to me, I should be better than I am. I've spent my whole life on this. You practice something, you're supposed to get better at it, right? And also, it doesn't make me a better person. It just makes me better at that.
Yeah, yeah.
My intrinsic value as a human being doesn't change at all because I'm good at something.
Yeah.
Those are, again, 2 totally different things.
Dude, you're just preaching wisdom. Go ahead.
But if I can play, bro, yes, I'm nice. Yeah. Really nice at what I do. Why am I like that? Okay. If you have a shirt that your grandmother bought you that you wanted, right? And everybody in the neighborhood wants it, which is why you're uncomfortable wearing it, right? You're in a poor neighborhood and everybody wants a shirt like this or some shoes like that or whatever it is. And so you kind of don't wear it too much because you don't want to draw that kind of attention. You know, people think, oh, you think you, whatever, when you wear it. So you wear a jacket over it or you only wear it when your grandmother's around. how's she gonna feel? How does your grandmother feel if she notices you wanted that shirt, you like
Yeah.
that shirt, I know you like it, why are you not wearing the shirt I got for you? Why are you not happy to have it? Why are you not happy to wear it? Why are you not happy to share that with the rest of the world?
Yeah.
Because you know how the rest of the world is going to feel about it. You're not comfortable with that. But how does your grandmother feel? Who's more important?
Mm-hmm.
Right? So if I'm gifted, and if God gave me a gift, and when somebody asks me, are you nice at making music? I'm like, oh, I'm cool. That's the jacket.
Yeah.
That's putting the jacket over what
Yeah.
God gave you. That's saying, you know, I'm nice. I mean, I'm cool. Like, no, I'm not cool. What are you talking about? No. I get a kick out of other people being good at what they do, no matter what it is, just
Yeah.
like I get a kick out of being good at what I do. I want to see what their gift is. Everybody is gifted at something.
Yes.
So, you know, you just got to find out what that thing is and what you're supposed to be doing. I always say, like, how many buildings do we not have because the architect is trying to make music?
Yeah. Yeah.
How many
It's the
songs do
truth,
we not
though.
have because the songwriter is trying to build buildings?
It's the
You know,
truth.
you need to be where your passion and your aptitude lie at the same time. Find out where both of those things are true. That's what you need to be doing. Not just what you're passionate about, because you can be passionate about something you're not good at.
Yeah.
And not just what you're good at, because you can be good at something that you're not passionate about.
Dude, I love
Passion is the fuel
basketball.
for what you do.
Yeah, love basketball, love basketball. Will I ever be on a team? No, my role is in the fucking stand cheering on the team players. You know what I'm
And that
saying?
is a viable position. And
Yes.
somebody has to be in that position. And it's
Yes.
important. It's a very important place to be. But humility basically takes the blinders off of you, and it makes you not a ego-driven person, because if you are, you'll see things the way they're not.
Mm-hmm.
Ego isn't ever about the truth.
It's a
It's
skewed
about
perception.
it's
It,
about a
it's a skewed
particular
self.
emotional response. Like,
Mm-hmm.
what makes you feel better about something, not what's true. I would rather feel better about the truth.
Agreed.
So I
Agreed.
put the time into what I do so I can actually be as good as I want to be. I don't just hope and think that I am. I just put the time into it. And as I grow, notice where I am, and where I know that there's people like, somebody came to me. I was playing at church one time. They came to me and were like, bro, do you ever make a mistake? I was like, yes, all the time. You just don't know it because my recovery skills are crazy. But
Yeah.
but the mistakes are happening right
Mm-hmm.
before your very ears. And he was like, well, who's better than you? I gave him like 3 names. He was like, wait. Yeah, those people. Look up those people. Those people are better than, technically, as far as just skill and
Yeah.
how they play the instrument, those people are better than me.
There's always going to be somebody too. You know what I'm saying? Like it just is what it is.
My mission isn't to be as good as those 3 people. My mission is to,
Be the
and
best
what I,
you could possibly be. That is every
yeah,
person's mission.
because you are the cake. You are
Mm-hmm.
proportions of many things. You aren't one thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that person who's better than me at the piano can't touch me as far as making records is concerned.
Yeah.
Because I make records. I'm not just a piano player. Piano is something I do so that I can make records better.
Yeah.
Right? So somebody who cooks and happens to be a gardener. Well, I garden so I can have fresh ingredients to cook with. But there's somebody who's just a gardener who's going to smash them at gardening, who they need to be hooked up with to learn how to be a better gardener.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
they can cook better, but they're still a cook.
Yeah.
See what I'm saying? They're a cook. Who cares about the ingredients that they cook with?
Yeah.
They're not supposed to be as good as this guy with the green thumb. That's all he does. He's supposed to be better at that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's not, it again, no ego. It's like, you're better than me at that. There's no question. I want to learn from you right now. If somebody like that walks into the studio, that's happened before. I've been in the studio with Dr. Dre on many occasions. Somebody walks in that's better than me at something that I do for him.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of times, you know, an ego-driven person will be like, oh, damn. Ugh, he's here now. He gonna figure out how good I'm not.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm like, Yo, Dre, that's the cat, bro.
Uh-huh.
I'm telling you, that is the cat. When it comes to playing the key, that is the dude. Listen to this. I'm about to go over there and snatch everything I can from this fool. That I'm completely honest about that.
Mm-hmm.
That he's not. He should be lauded for what he does. Like, he got that nice. That's incredible. I'm not gonna be like, oh crap,
Yeah.
because I have the confidence that comes from humility. I know why I'm in the room. I'm in the room because of the decisions that I make, not the difficulty level that those decisions take. And the difference between me and him ain't really that much when it comes to it, but he's better than me,
Yeah.
clearly.
Yeah.
To
Yeah.
me, to somebody else, maybe not as clearly, but I know. And I have no problem with that. But I'm in the room because at the end of the day, it's about the decisions that you make. I know him. I know what he wants. I know when a decision needs to be made, where to pull that sound from or where to do, because I'm a producer.
Yeah.
And we have a rapport, and we've been in this for a minute. So I'm not threatened by him. I don't care if he stays forever. That's less for me.
Right? You could
And
put
it's
your
more for
attention
me
towards something
because I'm going
else.
to learn from him.
Exactly.
So it's all gravy, bro. Like, it's, but you don't really get into those rooms. And if you get into those rooms, you don't stay in those rooms when you create a negative atmosphere in that room. And that's one of the ways to do that. Like, to be, I found out that I was threatening in a way that I never thought about at all. I just didn't, my mind doesn't go there.
Yeah.
But I figured out that when I walk into a room, they're not happy to see me. In a lot of places in LA where I was, because I do what they do. And I noticed that the more I showed of what I do. So when I was just a guitarist,
Yeah.
come on, hey, you know, come here, we're gonna play this guitar on this, play guitar on that, play guitar on this. Well, you know, I also write. I didn't get invited so much to those places as I did when I just play guitar, because there's people there that write that consider me to be eating the food from their table now.
Yep.
When I write with them. And they're like, well, I also sing. Okay. He really got to go. Or if he has to stay, we got to figure out how to keep him in a particular place so he doesn't grow too much. Like
Well, and that's the, can we say that too? That's the reality of it too, man. It's great to be around geniuses, but when it's business, it's business. And when money is involved, money is involved. And, you know,
but that was a faulty way of thinking, because they were forgetting about volume.
Mm-hmm.
They're thinking as if we're going to place 10 songs a year, no matter what. And now I'm going to take a percentage of those 10 songs. But because I'm here, we can do 20 songs a year.
Right.
So there's more for everyone to eat because there's more volume. They weren't thinking about volume. They were thinking like, we're only going to do this much. There's only this much in the industry. So they turned into lions at a carcass because the carcass only has so much meat in it. So, you know, I'm going to eat until I'm full. And then the strongest ones will pull back when they're full. And strong in this entry just comes from tenure. It just comes from, this is my house. It doesn't actually come from strong.
Yeah.
like it does on the Sahara, right? So you're just there, you know, waiting your turn to do something good enough and non-threatening enough at the same time to squeeze through the cracks.
Yeah.
And maintaining the relationships that you have with people who are threatened by you in order to make that happen. That requires a level of people skills and thinking ahead that has zero to do with music and everything to do with whether you're going to make it or not.
Yep, absolutely.
But if you're still learning how to do your craft while you're learning that, that's too much for one person.
Yeah. And you're not going to be ready for the moment too when it does come to you. No. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just think preparedness is so important. Being prepared, because I think that if you're working towards a goal, opportunities are all around us. You know what I'm saying? But how prepared are you for that moment, right? So
I'll prepare you. And you
it
don't prepare in the
happens
moment.
left field. Yeah,
You
no.
can't prepare in the moment. You got to prepare in the moments of solitude. But in order for someone to prepare themselves in moments of solitude, there has to be a belief there. Nobody's going to do something if they feel like they're wasting their time.
Absolutely.
And if you don't know that you're going to make it, you will feel like you're wasting your time putting all this energy into something that you might be able to be good at. But if you're never going to be able to do it for the world, who cares?
Yeah.
Right? You know, I knew when I was 12, I was going to work with Boyz II Men one day. Like nobody who knows me when I was 12 is surprised at all when I work with Boyz II Men. Or anybody else that I work with. It actually sucks because nobody gets super excited when I tell them about something. All my friends, anybody who's known me for over 25 years is like, yeah, of course you did, fool.
Yeah, yeah.
You're not going to even for a second be like, oh my God. No, we all knew you were going to do that.
Yeah.
Because one, I knew I was going to do that, but it wasn't like a I know I'm going to do that. Like it's just, I know. It's just a knowing. It's not a huge feeling about it. It's just, that's where I'm headed. I'm going to meet the people on that road because I'm going to be on that road. Mm-hmm. That's it. Like that. So, I mean, of course, if I travel on the same street, I'm going to run into these people.
Because you're walking the same lane. That's right.
Of course. I mean, I'm probably not going to meet Emmitt Smith because I'm not playing football. That would be crazy if I meet him. For me to meet Babyface is not crazy. For me to meet Dre is normal as far as I'm concerned, right? That's what is to be expected. Yeah. You know, when I meet an actor, that's not necessarily to be expected to me. So I'm like, oh, that's crazy. But there ain't nothing in the music industry crazy to me.
Yeah, yeah.
Because I know what I'm built for.
Absolutely. And you're living your calling, dude. So, all right. So besides your busy, crazy music, hectic schedule, like what else do you have going on? So you have your own record company too, right? Piano Man or something like that. So
Piano Man Entertainment.
Yeah. Talk and you teach things online. So I saw you haven't posted in a while. However, you do have a school. So please plug yourself because I have so many people. Some of my followers right now are just like they're really loving talking to you right now. So
okay, BluetoothUniversity.com. Spelled the way I spell it, BLU2TH University.com. Will take you to my YouTube channel. Where there's actually a tutorial of exactly how I made No Air. Just right there for you. Like exactly how I made it.
I love your philosophies too about like really like breaking down songs that already exist so you can learn through that. I love that philosophy, dude. This guy has so many good things for you to like just cling to like become better at your craft. So please listen to what he's saying right now. Where to find him.
So Is It the End of the Beginning, right? That song that was played at the very beginning of this, my first rap song ever. Which is hilarious.
How was it? Can I tell you it didn't feel too like natural, did it? Is what I was gauging.
Yeah, it did. I don't do anything that doesn't feel natural.
Yeah.
So it did feel natural.
All right, cool.
It just felt it just took me finding out who I am as a rapper. Like I had to, every vocal in that song was recorded at least 4 or 5 times.
The whole new hat.
Yeah, it's like a place that I've never expressed. I mean, I've like written a rap bridge in an R&B song and performed it because I did the demo.
Yeah.
Before, but I've never actually said I'm going to rap this song and this is going to be the song. I've never done that until that song. I also never made a video until that song. So that video,
awesome.
Check the video out on YouTube. Is It the End of the Beginning? That's my video. That is my video. So, so that's my first video of my first rap song. But yeah, it did take some like, I have to hear myself to know what it is. So the first time I take it, it's not about the lyrics I'm happy with. Now it's about the performance. Mm-hmm. Well, how should I perform this? I went to Dr. Dre, who actually helped me. He did the vocal production on the first half of the first verse. entirely. I changed that completely. It was a whole different first half of the first verse before.
Yeah.
So that happened in the studio with Dre. And he was like, I don't like that part. You know, it's funny. At one part, he was like, I hate that, right? But that's the beauty of being in a situation where there's no ego. Like, I want you to be like, if you hate something, I want you to say you hate it. I don't want you to say, I don't like that and try to make me consider my feeling. Like, I know how you feel about me. We love each other, right?
Yeah.
Just, if you hate it, I want to see the hate in your face.
Yeah.
I want to be like, I hate that. You know, Focus is back there like, oh. You know, Dr. Dre just told you that he hates a line of yours.
Right? Exactly. Be
As
like, listen,
a rapper,
bro.
I guess I should have been crushed, but I was like, well, what do you like? I think you should do it more like this. Okay, well, I feel like this would please both of us. Let's do this. You know. And there's other stuff that he changed and I changed it right back. Like, no, that stays.
Mm-hmm.
Because this is me. This is me expressing myself as an artist, but he understands that too. You think he did that to Eminem?
Yeah.
When Eminem was saying all that stuff about his mother, okay, first of all, hip hop, we all know that started out as a black thing, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Dude,
so
I just happen to grow up in fucking Jersey, so like it's part of my DNA because I was there for it. You know what I'm saying?
We all know how black people feel about talking about their mother.
Oh,
like,
yes.
Like, you don't, like, okay, you might hate your mother. You're not going to talk about it. You're not going to say that on a record.
Yeah.
So Dre, being a black person, was like, you want to say that about, you sure you want to say that about your mom? And of course, Marshall's like, yes. He's like, you, and he's cringing every time he hears these lyrics, like, oh,
yeah,
this ain't hip hop. You know what I'm saying? Ugh. But when he looked at him and said yes from a true place,
yeah,
that's the last time I'm gonna say anything about it.
Yeah.
I signed you because you're you. Yeah. So for me to say that you shouldn't be what I'm now finding out is you is me not trusting myself.
Yes.
So go ahead and say, I just had to check that and see. But if you feel that way about it, go. And then he became the greatest selling rapper of all time because he allowed him to be himself. You know? So he's going to do that with me too. And I'm going to do that with any artist that I do. Or I'm not going to work. If themselves is something I can't work with, I just won't work with them.
Yeah.
But when I showed him the final video, he wasn't like, this sucks. He was like, this is fantastic. You know? Because I came home, everything I recorded there, I recorded again like 2, 3, 4, 5 times until I felt like I could, like I told you before, I can listen with no distractions. Like everything about the delivery of this is only leading me toward the concept and not distracting me from it. I'm done. So I was like, okay, I'm a rapper now. All right.
You can add that to the list of.
Ray was like, you got slashes. You like, comedian, rapper. Because he's been to one of my comedy shows too. You're comedian, rapper, photographer, videographer. You over there just doing everything.
Yeah.
Got slashes. And now you rap it? I was like, I guess, man. I guess. I really didn't intend to. But that inspiration dropped on me at that time.
No, man, that was a powerful message too. Like if you were gonna start with anything that was like solo track, I'm so glad you started with that one because it just needed to be said. I loved everything about it. I really, really did.
Thank you.
Did. It was powerful, you know. And
yeah, I need to purge that idea because I don't want to be a conscious rapper.
Yeah.
So I'm not trying to. You're not about to hear about a whole bunch of "is it the end or the beginnings" from me. That I said what I need to say.
Exactly.
I made sure that I said everything in that rap about that subject that I ever want to say.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's really all in there.
Yeah.
It's like American history is in there. Like the whole.
I love it.
The rap's got everything.
Absolutely.
So I was like, okay, I'm done with that. The next one's gonna be fun.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Next is called. I already know what it is. It's called Overnight Success, and it's just gonna be fun.
Very cool. When do you think that might come to completion?
You know what? Right now, I have no clue because I just released a jazz record. Right? It's really purge time for me right now. It's
Yeah.
really why this is happening. All the ideas that I never did anything with, I have to release myself to a point where I can make new stuff without the encumbrances of all these old ideas that I never did anything with. So
Yeah.
the jazz album is a lot of those ideas. And once they come out, and also like you probably have heard Back to Euphoria,
Mm-hmm.
which I wrote for Earth, Wind, and Fire that they didn't take, that I now put on me because I'm an artist now.
Yeah, yeah.
So I mean, a hip hop record, 3 months later, I'm releasing a jazz record where I played all the instruments, and then a month or two later, R&B song like Earth, Wind, and Fire is coming out with me singing it and playing all the instruments. It's a huge purge. I don't know what the next thing's gonna be. It might be another hip hop record. I don't know. I don't know. Right now. I don't even care. So it's just, some of life. Okay, let me help some other people. So you're never gonna be fully prepared for anything.
Exactly. Just let that sink in.
You are never going to be fully prepared for anything.
Mm-hmm.
So those who wait until they're fully prepared are the ones who never do anything. There's a level of preparedness, under preparedness, where you have to feel comfortable in order to do something. That's how things get done. And some of it gets figured out on the fly.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you don't want to figure it all out on the fly, but part of learning is learning how to learn and learning what level of preparedness is the one where you should move.
Mm-hmm.
I even talk about that when it comes to practicing. Like if I over practice, it'll mess me up in the performance. Because now I'm starting to practice more specifically instead of options. Like I know what my options are here. I'm going to go with what it feels like in the moment. But if I practice too much, it becomes a linear thing where I only have one thing to do. And if I think of something outside of that, it'll confuse me because now I've practiced that one thing so much. So I'm really just getting an idea of what choices I can make. And when I feel comfortable that whenever that choice comes, I'll pick one, I leave. Because any more than that will actually be, it's like diminishing returns.
Yeah.
Of practice. It's not the more you practice. Like people, everything people say sounds like the more you practice, the better. Kind of. There's a level of preparedness that's never going to be fully prepared where you have to move. Right. And I've done things all the way down here only when I had to. Like I never picked that. But a lot of times I've been on stage and, thrown into situations.
Mm-hmm.
And you got to perform. And I don't prefer them, but I think a part of me kind of does. But that's another thing. It's the challenge of it. And it's just like, but I am prepared because I've done this so many times unprepared until I'm prepared for whatever.
Yeah.
But that's a whole, that comes from
That's
a
a
whole lot
whole
of
other
experience.
thing.
That's experience.
Yeah. That's another
Only
skill set.
experience does that. And, of performing at this level before. It'll always be better if I'm prepared more in those times, but better is relative. I've gotten standing ovations when I wasn't prepared before. To them, they don't give a damn.
Yeah.
But technically, would it have been better? Yeah. But would they have cared? No. So it's like, what matters?
The
Deliver.
synergy matters. The being in the moment.
And
That's
that's
what
what that
matters.
was.
At the end of the day, that is what matters. It's
When
that
they
being
stood on their feet
present
and they
in the
clapped,
moment.
that wasn't about anything, but I just saw people on stage work with each other in such an organic way that I could tell that they were vibing on a level that I love to see.
Yeah.
And they just hit me with some hit records. So I just can't help but stand up right now. That was that kind of thing. So, preparing to prepare and preparing to be prepared and learning how to learn. Those are the kind of things that'll get you anywhere.
Yes. Yes. This is all good stuff, man. Such good stuff. I'm loving it.
Absolutely.
I don't
My
want to
sister's
hold
on
you
here.
up.
She said it's more about the journey.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
there ain't no destination. It's like, that's another thing I tell people that sounds bad when you first say it. You'll never reach your potential. I want to reach my potential. No, you don't. Potential means the exact best you could ever be.
Yeah.
As good as you can ever be. I don't want to do that. At what point do you get to where you can't learn anything else and get any better? If you can learn something else, then you haven't reached your potential.
Right.
So the human lifespan is not long enough to reach a human's potential.
It's the truth.
So the idea is not to reach your potential. The idea is to be interrupted farther along. Right? So you want death to interrupt you as far along the journey as possible. It's not about reaching at all anything. It's about it is completely a journey. That's why it's more about the journey than the destination. There is no destination. You're not going to know everything. You're not going to be as good as you could possibly be ever. So there is no destination. We're all just on a journey.
Yes.
That's it. So if you don't enjoy that, you enjoy nothing.
You miss it. You miss the whole purpose.
You miss your whole life.
Yep.
I'm not about to miss my life.
And you're not.
No, I'm not. I'm here for it.
Listen, I talk about this all the time to my people, man. Just being able to hone in on the now. You know what I'm saying? And seriously, at the end of the day, what you are doing in the now is going to set you up for where you're going to be. You might as well be conscious about that, man. Like so many people live their lives on autopilot. It's just an autopilot, and everything we're talking about, like this whole.
But you don't know what to do with the controls if you don't know who you are. So like you have to know who you are. You're going to be on autopilot because you can't expect somebody to grab the wheel of anything if they don't know where they're going.
Right.
You're going to be on autopilot. And you're not on autopilot because you chose to be. You're on autopilot because you didn't choose to figure out who you are.
That's exactly right. And people have a choice, right? And that's the thing too. And I'm so tired of hearing about I don't have a choice. No, you can choose you. And you cannot control other things that happen around you, but ultimately you are in charge of the way you respond.
Yeah, and you can influence those things.
Exactly. So these are all important concepts that all tie into like doing anything that you're passionate about in life, and it just makes you that much greater in what you are supposed to be doing, whatever it is, if you have that strong sense of self and just like I preach it all the time, man. You're just backing me up.
I remember when the stock market crashed or the housing market crashed.
Yeah.
And a lot of people killed themselves because that's where their investments were. That's where they had, it's people who confuse what they do with who they are.
Absolutely.
As if what you do is who you are. That'll never be the case. One thing I don't expect from music is happiness.
Right? You gotta be happy.
I don't expect music to make me happy. Music is a result of my internal well-being. It's not causing it, except the release of it is good. Like it makes you feel good to release what's in you because it builds up pressure and it's able to be expressed. Self-expression is just a thing that feels good, but it's not a thing that feels good enough to make you happy, period. Like it's not, don't elevate it to that level. The only thing that makes people happy is people. Things you do, those are the purpose of those things is not to make you happy. Don't look to those things for that because those are the people that kill themselves.
Absolutely.
Because when you get there, you don't want to find out when you have everything that you thought was going to make you happy that it doesn't.
Yes.
That's not when you want to find that out. You want to know that from the beginning so you don't expect that.
Absolutely.
And you want to value the right things along the way because if you don't, then you won't have the things that you should have valued when you find out those are the things you should have valued.
Absolutely.
So you end up in a very unhappy place with all the stuff that you thought was going to make you happy. No, music is not going to make me. But music is a part of what leads me to my happiness, which is fulfilling my role on earth.
Yeah.
So if I do a concert and I know that people were touched a certain way, that is where the happiness comes from, not the act of making the music.
Yeah.
Which is why the music is made a certain way, because I don't expect the happiness from the music. I expect the happiness to come from what the music does to people.
Yeah.
So I'm not satisfied with something that's just musically impressive.
Mm-hmm.
I don't get my satisfaction from that. I get my satisfaction from something that is emotionally impressive. It's going to impress someone emotionally.
Yeah.
And they're going to get the thing that I intended for them to get. So when I see that happen, that's fulfilling.
Yeah. Yeah.
But if I see that happen to an audience of people I don't know, and everybody I do know hates me, I'm never going to be happy.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's not going to create happiness. It's going to be fulfilling in that moment, but all those people are going to go home after the concert. And it's the people that you have actual relationships with that you're going to be left with. Cultivate those. That's the thing that's going to make you happy. Okay, have a dog if you want to, but the people are going to be the ones that make you happy.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's where it's going to come from.
No doubt. No doubt.
My sister said peace comes from within, happiness comes from the external environment. Yeah. Yeah. Which is the people in that external environment.
Absolutely.
But they can't give you peace. Peace has to come from a knowing,
Absolutely.
a feeling of knowing.
I bring it to a step even further, man, because I know there are a lot of people out there that, I'm an extroverted introvert, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, like, I also encourage just, like, making sure that you're putting yourself in a situation where you could just replenish your soul. Like, if it's outside in nature, just doing things. So it doesn't necessarily have to be people oriented. Like, granted, people that we encounter are the most important things.
Yeah, but
there are other ways to actually just feel restorative too. And I think being able to balance that is also important, because you can't, just like you were saying, music can't be your only happiness. It cannot be your only way to sort of replenish either.
Yeah.
You have got to find other outlets.
I didn't like making music for a few years.
Mm-hmm.
There's a few years in my life where the passion for music was almost nil. And when I told people that, they would look like they're about to cry, like their grandmother passed away, because they'd be like, please don't say that. Like,
dude, burnout is real though in every field.
Yeah, because like this industry is whack. It's like it's not made for me.
Yeah.
It wasn't made by me. It wasn't made by the producer. It was made by the executive. It was made for the. It's always gonna be made for the people. It was made by. That's how things work.
Yep.
So I'm just supposed to provide content for somebody else to benefit the most from. That's really how it's set up.
Yeah.
So when you realize that, and the politics and the egos and the threatening and it not working out all the time, and it's like it's not about the best song. So if it's not about the best song, then what do you do? Like it would be much easier for me if it was about the best song, but it's not. So it's like, okay, I could deliver it and I haven't delivered. Okay, I'm about to do some other stuff. So then I went and did stand-up comedy, and then I became a photographer, and now I'm a videographer. Mm-hmm. Those things made me love music again. Because what I realized is I'm not a musician. I'm a creative.
Right.
And most of the time that I've spent on creativity has been spent on music. So music is the thing that I'm most proficient in. But that line is starting to get blurred as I do other things like photography and things like that, because I'm getting so good at those things, because all the things I just know how to learn.
Yeah.
Learning to play 5 instruments by yourself teaches you how to learn, right? Yeah. So now, no matter what I want to do, I can figure it out. And if it's also a passion of mine, then it ends up being like music. And then I realized I get a rush from doing stand-up comedy that I don't get from music. I get a rush from photography and editing and stuff that I don't get from music. But when I get those things, when I come back to music, it's with a different vigor. Like it's a different type of, I want to be here.
Yeah.
The way I used to want to be here when I was in those college days trying to figure stuff out, there was a feeling of, every time I go, I'm trying to, I can't wait to see what will be made when I'm there or what new thing I'll understand when I leave. There's the feeling of being better than you were when you sat down. Like
Yeah.
that was awesome, but that got kind of lost in the shuffle for a while. But when I got good at some other stuff and came back, that's when I could love music again. So a lot of times it's walking away.
Yeah.
A
Dude,
lot of
I
times it's
went through
walking away and
a
doing something
period,
else.
man. I went through a period where I just talked about this. I had so much animosity towards music because for me, I had to deal with that whole, sense of me. You know what I'm saying? Because I just always felt so different. And I wasn't in the most nurturing of environments when I was growing up. And I sabotaged myself. I look back in retrospect and I kicked myself in the ass because I had opportunities. I just wasn't able to recognize them at that time,
At the time.
So now it's like the fact that I'm here right now, I'm just, first of all, I live every day so fucking grateful. But it's that using all of the experiences that we are in our lives really makes us that much stronger as musicians, and what we come up with, if we're able to just like, because at this stage of the game, like I do a little bit of everything too, but like my music is just like, I feel like the stuff that I'm writing now, I'm not even like recycling old stuff because it was pretty on point before too. But it's just like I love what's coming out of me, and you're like, ooh, it's like a happy surprise, like
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
really cool stuff,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
Oh,
And you get tired of like, I don't make this for my own personal enjoyment. I make this for the enjoyment of the world.
yeah,
So I don't want to make another hit record that's going to be on my computer.
yeah, yeah,
Like,
yeah,
I don't want to hear it. Once I made it, I want to hear it.
yeah.
I want somebody else to hear it. That's what I made it for. It's like you made a feast. You can't eat that much.
Yeah,
You don't you don't want to sit down. It's only depressing to sit down with a feast full of food with nobody there sitting with you.
yeah,
All that's gonna do is the amount of food, the more it is, the more depressing it is.
yeah,
In the same way, once you get to that point of what you do, the better you are, the more depressing it is.
yeah,
The more you can make, the more you have on your hard drive that's amazing, the more depressing it is because you're the only person that knows it's there besides the other people that wrote it with you.
yeah,
And the occasional person you say, check this song out every now and then. That's not why I came to Los Angeles.
yeah.
But now, put it out. Put it. I'm an endless source of this. I don't run out.
Yeah,
So there's no reason not to put it out. There's no point at which I can't make another. Just put it out.
yeah,
If it doesn't do well, maybe it will later. First of all, not everything does well when you put it out.
yeah. And it's like old school music too, man.
There's
Like
some songs that are obscure as hell, but somebody
uh,
was going through some crates and made a hip hop record, and now it's a smash.
you never know.
20 years after you put it out. I don't care about none of that. All I care about is purging what I have inside of me.
Yes, yes,
So I
yes.
can be free to make the new stuff that I haven't heard me make yet.
Yeah,
That's all I care about right now. I want to maximize every release, but that's secondary to releasing it
yeah.
at this point. Sometimes it's more important for a thing to exist than for it to be what you want it to be.
Agreed. Agreed.
Sometimes existence has to be placed above how you want it to exist.
Because you know what, too? I believe also that something else is going to build off of that existence because it wasn't about that first thing at
And there's
all, is
no
what we
way for
find
you to
out.
know that until it exists.
Exactly.
There is no way for you to know how this will turn out in the world. How this plays out in the world is the part that you don't really control.
Yeah.
You contribute to it.
Yeah.
Every song is intended to be a hit. Every song is intended to be a smash. Is every song a smash?
No.
Does a label want every song they put out to be a smash? Absolutely. The idea is for every song to be a smash, but
That's why
not
they
every
choose
song
the
is.
ones that they choose.
So if you could control the world, then every song would be a smash.
Yeah. But dude, listen, one of my favorite things, right? So I bring a lot of people on here. Like you're probably like the most like in this than other people that I'll be bringing on. I love those little hole in the wall freaking like dive bars where there are like dudes that come out with their guitar on a whim, but they're really super freaking musical geniuses that
Yeah,
people don't know about. Like
yeah,
those are my favorite spots, you know?
yeah,
So
yeah.
on this specifically, I'm going to be bringing a lot of people on that are not known,
Oh yeah,
you know, but they exist, you know? So that's like
they're there.
that makes me happy. That makes me so happy because I think that there's so much talent that goes undiscovered and unheard, and I just really want to share all of that with the world. Like you know what I'm saying? That makes me happy.
Well, being a conduit, being a pipe and not a draw.
Yes, yes, I love that. I love that component of you, especially because I think you you have such a knack of breaking things down into common language for people to get it. You know what I'm saying? Which is another rare gift because you're a freaking PhD mindset, but the way you're able to break things down is really like parables. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Right, right, right.
so I just appreciate you so freaking much, man. And
Thank
oh
you.
my gosh, oh, I have to end this only because not because I don't want to stop talking to you because I could talk to you for freaking hours and hopefully I get a chance to at some point, you know. But like I am just so appreciative for everything that been able to share with everybody today. And really, like, if you don't know who Erik Griggs is, and this is another thing, people don't know your name, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like Bluetooth.
I liked it that way for a long time. That's really what I didn't want is fame,
Yeah, yeah,
but I had to kill that in myself
yeah,
because again, always learning. If you ever stop, you might as well just die. You're basically dead if you're not learning.
yeah,
But for me, I didn't want to be famous. So basically, I didn't realize it, but every decision that I was making was as much to avoid fame as it was to get anything.
yeah. So you're blocking your
So
blessings,
I
though.
could have been an actor.
Yeah,
If I would have done stand up, I would have ended up writing on sitcoms. I would have been on the show. I would have gone through the
yeah,
natural progression of that, right? Almost every black actor we know of came from stand up comedy. Every big one,
yeah.
right? Every big black male came from stand up, pretty much, or some form of comedy, right? So, okay, I would have done that, but that would have made me famous, and that's not what I wanted.
Yeah.
I consider fame to be an undesired byproduct of what I do. So, but I had to realize that I made a lot of decisions in my life in order to be 100% me.
Yes.
So, what I do and everything I do, everything that I'm good at makes you famous. If you do it 100% and don't stop, it will make you famous.
Dude, that's the thing
so,
about playing
so I
genre.
have to diminish myself in order to not be famous. I can't be 100% me and not be famous
Yeah.
at the end of the day. So I had to say, okay, if you're gonna have the product, you can't separate it from the byproduct.
Mm-hmm.
You have to embrace the byproduct with the product, or you'll never have the product. And that was the moment I said, okay, that's it. I don't mind
Because
being
you're
famous.
that guy, Eric. You are that guy. You know, when somebody says, "Oh, I need him," right? Like you don't, and you don't have to be like world famous household name, like exactly what
Yeah.
you're saying, because you're good at your craft. You are going to be famous for that, and this is something I've learned about. Just like like the music business, like all these small subcultures and genres of things, right? There's always like go-to people, right? Like, and that it is what it is. Like
Yeah.
you're well known
Yeah,
for
but that
your
that
brand.
famousness within the industry is fine with
Yeah,
me. I don't want to walk through a mall and people know who I am.
yeah,
I don't want to do that. I don't want to, if Michael Jackson runs out of eggs, he doesn't go to the nearest Ralph's. Like
yeah,
he can't.
yeah,
Like it's like just think of the little simple things that become quite a decision for you. Like how am I gonna? You got to have people to go to places before. Now you got Uber. It's a different world now, so
yeah.
I can Uber Eats everything if I want to. but I can also have the type of fame. What I realize now is there's different kinds of fame.
Absolutely.
There's the fame where when people see you, they say, I know exactly who you are, how you're doing. It's a thing like that. And then you have the fame where people try to rip your clothes off in the mall, right?
Yeah.
That's that Chris Brown, Michael Jackson, Janet type of fame. I don't have to have that in order to have fame.
Yeah.
There's different kinds of fame, and there's ways to manage it. So, but I didn't even think about that until I thought about of just embracing it, period. Because it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, even if there's only one kind of fame, I have to be okay with it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I got to just be okay with it. But then you start seeing things like, well, every fame's not exactly the same.
I know there are different levels.
Yeah, there's different ways. The reason you are famous has a lot to do with how your fame is treated by the public.
Mm-hmm.
So that makes me feel a little better. But at this point, I don't care because I can't afford to care.
Yeah. And dude, once you're on that path, like you just like you're not gonna be able to shut it down, dude. Like it
If
is what
everybody knows it's the end of the beginning tomorrow, there's no going back.
Yeah. Exactly. So,
That's it.
boy, oh boy. And you know what? Even if it's not that one, right? Because you have other stuff.
I'm just gonna keep putting stuff out.
Keep yourself open to it.
I'm just gonna keep putting stuff out. I'm not gonna not be famous. I'm gonna keep putting stuff out, and I'm not gonna stop ever.
Exactly. I love that. I love it.
So it is what it is.
Well, listen. I've had to think a lot about like what sacrifice comes with being famous, and
yes,
I think that's a question that people don't give themselves an opportunity to actually like sit down with and really talk about the costs of it,
Mm-hmm.
And I'm nowhere to where I know I'm going, but however, I've thought about what that's going to look like,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah. It's not all it's cracked up to be sometimes, and that's something that's a very real
sucks.
thing.
It's living in a box. It's like you can't do anything. You're stuck in your house, no matter how nice your house is.
Yeah.
Sometimes you wish you could just walk down the street and it'd be okay.
Yeah.
And when you're Dr. Dre, Chris Brown, Janet Jackson, you can't do that.
Yeah.
You can't do that.
Not at all. Not at
You
all.
simply cannot.
Their life is not their own, but that's the thing too. I think about like, for me, truth and character prevails is always like my thing. That's a statement that I put out there. So I think for me, just in the process of building, what I'm building right now, just honing into that statement and being as real and as upfront with who I am as a person at the jump, so that doesn't get manipulated the more my name gets out. You know what I'm saying? So like I don't want to conform for anybody, and I know that once you reach a certain level too, there's a whole process of conformity that unfortunately happens to a lot of people, and then
some types of conformity are good, some types of conformity are bad. You just think about all the stuff you just said and how impossible any of that is if you don't know yourself.
Right?
Like none of that is simple if you don't know who you are. You don't know what conformity is. Conform to what? You don't know what conforming is if you don't know yourself.
Yeah.
You don't know what's away from yourself if you don't know what yourself is.
Mm-hmm.
So if you don't have
is this true?
Stay wherever you are until you have that.
Absolutely.
Don't move to a big city like Los Angeles. Don't go to Nashville. Don't go to Atlanta or New York. Wherever you go to do what you do, stay your ass at the crib until you know who you are.
That's right.
I didn't come out here with any type of doubt, any type of wavering about who I was. There was none of that. So everybody who knew me had the same idea of who I was. Because no matter where you see me, it's going to be consistent. But you can't have none of that. If that's all branding too, at the end of the day.
Yeah, absolutely.
If McDonald's was blue and green tomorrow, that first of all wouldn't happen because they're not stupid. They know that'd be terrible branding. They did that for a reason, and they're never going to change that because that's who they are. They establish who they are to you It doesn't make any sense to change that. But once you establish yourself as something that you're not because you didn't know who you were, then you have to change to who you are, and then people got to relearn you. The branding of you is all jacked up.
Yeah.
If you don't come in knowing who you are.
Yeah.
That is the first step, not practicing keys. While you practicing keys, what are you practicing them for? Who is practicing those keys?
Yeah. Yeah.
Who is practicing those keys? That'll help you determine what to practice.
Absolutely.
I was
Absolutely.
always coming from a place where this is me. I know who I am. This is what I do. This is why I do it. So this is what I need to do. It was always from that perspective. It was never, I just want to get good at something for the sake of getting good at something.
Yeah. That's
It
a
was,
hollow reward. It's
yeah,
hollow.
what's that? What is that? Like, just being good at a thing, a random thing? Like, what, am I supposed to? If I'm not supposed to, then I'm not supposed to. So what good is that? I just want to be good at what I'm supposed to be good at. And that turned out to be several things, but they're all creative.
Yeah.
So then I'm not as much a musician as I am a creative.
Yeah.
Because then when I went to do photography, the same thing happened. When I went to do videography, the same thing happened.
Mm-hmm.
When I cook, the same thing happened. But that's because cooking is the same as making music. Like, the tongue and the ear are different. That's why I cook and I make music. I can't make music for the tongue, and I can't make food for your ear.
Mm-hmm.
But music is food for your ear. Photography is music for your eye. It's just the instrument that picks it up. This instrument doesn't pick up sound, so I'm doing the same thing for another instrument.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
Okay, last story. So I'm on a yacht, right? I'm on the yacht and I'm taking pictures while I'm on this yacht trip for my print site, which is blueprints.art, for those who might want to know that. And I took this picture. I went out and I took a picture of a sunset. And I brought it back and I edited it in like 10 minutes. And then I showed it to the captain of the yacht. And he said, first of all, I want that in my office. And then he was like, what do you do for Drake? I was like, what? Because that looked like it looked. He was like, what do you do for Drake? I was like, look, it's the same thing. I said, there's frequencies of sound. There are frequencies of light.
Absolutely.
Frequencies of light are dark light colors. It's a spectrum. There's a spectrum in sound. There's low and high. There's 20 hertz to 20 kilohertz. That's the human hearing range. 20 hertz to 20 kilohertz. Everything in between there is a spectrum. I am adjusting frequencies for the instrument that picks it up. That's all I'm doing. Whether I'm making music, whether I'm cooking, whether I'm taking pictures, I am adjusting frequencies in a pleasing way to the instrument that it's intended for. That's it.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, it's all the same. I'll show you the picture that's the picture.
That's the picture, the one that's been hanging on. Wait, no, the one on your wall is a different
That
one.
I took while I went out and took this picture on the yacht and brought it back. And
This
I had
is
just edited
nice.
this and showed that to him. And he was like, whoa, what do you do for Drake? You're this photographer. What do you do for him? I was like, I do anything that's necessary at the moment. But that
That's
is,
gorgeous,
I took
man.
this on that trip. I took this on that trip.
Gorgeous,
Yeah.
gorgeous.
I took this on that trip. I took this on that trip.
Gorgeous.
I took a whole lot of pictures on that trip. But he was confused because he was like, well, you're a photographer. You're clearly an actual photographer. So what do you do for it? But to me, I'm using the same part of my brain.
Dude, I say this all the time, though. I'm like, art is not something we do. It's who we are, you know? It's like, and when you do have that ability to be able to just translate it throughout creative processes, like, it have fun with it, man. Because everything is music. You know what I'm saying? Everything is music. Everything is art. Everything is pretty photography. Everything is
If I got
ugly
if I got
photography.
heavy bass and I got really high tones in there, that's high contrast.
Yeah,
If I have a whole lot of low tones, if I have a lot of bright and a lot of dark, it's the same thing in a photograph. It's
yeah.
actually no different. And it's textures. So when I layer sounds, I'm creating
Mm-hmm.
auditory textures.
Mm-hmm.
But when I cook, I'm making actual physical textures. When I take this, there's textures in there too. Like when you really think about it, these terms apply to all the things that we do creatively.
Yeah, yeah.
That's all I'm doing.
Cool stuff. Cool stuff. Erik. Yay. I'm so happy to talk to you. Oh my gosh. All right. So,
What up, fan? I
like,
got a lot of my peoples in here.
yay. You want to say hello?
What up, Tone? What's up, Phantom? What up, Susie? Takia?
Oh.
I got Teron. Yeah, I feel like Kurt Franklin. All my people say. Um,
That's awesome.
yeah, yeah. Susie does massage. She said music and massage are the same thing. Healing to you'll find
It's all
the common
interrelated.
threads. As you do more things, you'll find the common threads in those things.
Yes.
That's why it took me, 20, 30 years to be as good at music as I was when I got here. But it doesn't take me 30 years to become good at photography because of the common threads. It's because when I was learning music, I was learning how to learn. So that took some of the time out of everything else I ever do.
Yeah.
And then those common threads means I'm already good at some things that I'll find out that I'm good at when I start doing them because I think this is the exact same way about that thing. So there's really no barrier to it.
Yeah.
So once you're good at one thing, you can be better at other things that are related to that thing. You just have to realize they're related.
Mm-hmm. You have to find the common ground. Dude,
Find that common thread that runs through all of it.
I talk about self-esteem with this way too, right? Like things that I stopped myself from when I was younger, right? And then like little things I was able to translate, right? I taught myself how to drive a stick shift, right?
Yeah,
Being able to
my
do
sister,
that.
yeah, she just gave me the keys and said, "You're driving home." That's how I learned how to drive.
But I'm saying though, don't you feel proud of yourself after you break like a fear barrier? That's what it comes down to at the end of the day. When you
Yeah, I mean,
break
if you almost
fear,
kill the people that you love, there's something.
but you broke through. You're still
There's
here.
a cocktail. It's like when I just got off the stage with Elder Bars the other day. They were like, "How do you feel?" It's like a cocktail of emotions. I was like, it's more of a
That's fucking
mixed
awesome, dude.
drink. It's more not just one thing.
Exactly. It's a
El started
fusion.
cracking up. He was like, "Yes, it's a cocktail. The montage
Oh,
of emotions."
yeah, right?
Okay.
It's awesome. It's awesome. But you have to be, and again, too, this goes back to the self awareness thing. You have to be able to recognize those moments to be able to apply them to other moments in your life. You know what I'm saying? Like those feelings. Like you've got to be able to take a step back and recognize things that are happening within yourself in order for other things to
But
happen.
my sister said, "But we got home." Yeah, you got. I don't want to go kill everybody. I almost did at one point though. I'm not like I almost killed us, but I definitely almost at least had a fender bender at one point.
Dude, did you have to go on a hill? Because that the first time I took my car
Oh,
out, not
right.
knowing how to
That's the
drive a
hardest
stick,
thing.
I
Yeah.
had actually had two people come and help push my car out, and I had my baby girl in the car too. So I was like, I'm like flagging down
Well, I
people,
had
like,
my sister. I think I had my nephew and her husband in the car.
yeah.
The Volkswagen Fox.
Fun times. I had like a Suzuki Samurai. That was what I learned on.
I was like, "You really about to give me these keys right now?" That was the ultimate trust. I'm like, "Wow."
Man, oh man, you did it though. You did it.
Yeah, I'm alive today. So yeah.
Oh my goodness. You still drive? Wait, say that one more time. You still drive stick?
No, hell no. I don't drive no. No, I got automatics.
There you go.
I got automatic. It is. I think it's fun to drive a stick though. I still enjoy driving a stick.
It's fun.
But in Los Angeles, the traffic, it's not fun if there's that kind of traffic.
It's fun in a small car.
It's fun when when you can drive like you want to, not 5 miles per hour on the 405. That's not where you want to be driving a stick.
Everything to me is an analogy of life, though, right? You know what I'm saying? So
Mhm.
if I'm driving my stick in the streets of Los Angeles with these crazy ass drivers that are all around me,
All around
you know what I'm saying? And I'm staying patient and present in the moment and
you.
not allowing myself to like curse anybody out, then I feel so proud of myself every time I
Because
get
you have
home and
really
park my
accomplished
car.
something. You
You know what I'm saying?
really have accomplished something.
That's right. Every single day, every time I get into my car, you know what I'm
Because
saying?
nobody out? Because nobody out? It's like when I was in the studio playing guitar one time, Uncle Charlie walked in from the Gap Band.
Uh-huh.
And he was just looking at me. It's funny sometimes, like the way people, like their perspective is so much different than yours. Like you're just living your life, you're just moseying around, new, just doing your thing. But the way people interpret it, like he was like, I was playing guitar on some track I was making. He was like, "You don't go out with nobody? You don't go out with nobody?" I was like, "Nah." He's like, you don't go out with nobody? I was like, "No. I just be in the studio, man." He's like, "Yeah, but nobody?" He wasn't feeling that at all. You should not be in here playing no guitar like that. You ain't going out with nobody. But I ended up playing on his album during that time, so you know.
Yeah. So funny. So
But
funny.
you know, I'm on road with Elder Bars now, so
Yes. Yes, yes. And you were just out there in Detroit this past weekend
I
too.
was in Motown
Oh, I
playing with a
gotta get
Motown
you know, I've
artist.
never been there before. I gotta go. Gotta go.
Yes, yeah, that's the place you have to go.
Listen, dude, I'm such a sensing person that like when I step out of an airport, I can feel it. You know what I'm saying? Like, do you get that vibe from Detroit? Like, can you
No,
just
I ain't
feel
gonna lie.
it?
No. But but I did go to Hitsville, USA though. I did go to Motown and I stood on those stairs and I was
Yeah,
like, there's definitely a feeling about that. Like this little house
yeah.
is where 110 top 10 records within a 10-year span happened.
Fucking magic.
61 to 71, 110 top 10 records came out of this establishment.
Yeah,
What?
yeah,
It's a small house. It's not even like big.
yeah.
It that is inspiring as hell.
And that's why I don't want to hear people
He's
complain
just
about
starting.
what cannot be done because shit, if you do your research, you understand that sometimes you have nothing, but you make it work. You know what I'm
Anything
saying?
can be done. The only
Yeah.
difference is who's doing it.
Yes.
There's nothing that can't be done. There's nothing that hasn't been done.
Right?
The only difference is who's doing it.
Yes.
Barry Gordy was the guy to do it, so it could be done. Whatever the house was,
Yeah.
it could be done. That just happened to be the house. So when I'm there looking at that, and I'm at the point in my life when I'm making my label artistry
Yeah.
a reality, it's extremely meaningful at that moment to be taken there. And I'd never been in Detroit before. And the funny thing is, I was in Detroit a week before that with Marsha Ambrosius. Somebody who never goes on tour, never goes out with nobody, never goes out with nobody. And I go to Detroit with Marsha Ambrosius, play for her. While I'm there, Elle's like, I need you to come with me next week to Detroit. I was like, this is amazing. I didn't
Right?
see Hitsville when I was there the first time,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
but I did have time to go the second time.
That's cool, man. That's cool.
So, of course, I'm playing with a Motown artist that I grew up on and we all grew up on.
Dude, yeah, we did.
Playing All This Love. I'm playing Time Will Reveal. I'm playing these incredible records. I'm playing records that, how did you write that type
Yeah,
records?
yeah.
You know, it's I don't know. Everything has a reason, and it's interesting to see when things happen
Yes.
and the coincidences that.
Oh, well, you got to pay attention. That ultimately, that's the simple form. I just like, dude, I tell people just pay attention. You know what I'm saying? Like, cause and I'm always paying attention and I'm always trying to like glean understanding from life experiences, whatever they may be, good, bad, indifferent, you know, like you gotta be like that. You gotta be like that. So that it is cool as hell. You got that.
100%.
Yay. And happiness.
100%.
Oh my gosh. What else do you have going on? So you going back on tour with them again?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm doing I'm doing the rest of the dates this year with Elle. We're in Arkansas Friday. We're in
I
Mapleton.
saw that Little Rock, dude. A good friend of mine who's a musician lives in Arkansas, and I got a chance to go there this summer for the first time, and I fucking loved it. It was cool.
Well, tell your boy quit playing and come to the show, okay?
Yeah, man.
We'll be there, and then I'll be in Mapleton, Georgia the next day.
Yeah.
And then I think it'll be a month until we do another show. It's
Yeah,
like
yeah.
23rd or something.
You're pacing yourself.
Well,
But
he's
you
picking
always use your
up, and I'm
time
glad
wisely,
you.
though. You know what I'm saying? Like,
What do you say?
do you bring your stuff with you, like, when you're on the road? Like, are you the type of person that always has, like, a notebook around them or something like that? Like, what
I mean, I take what I need for the gig. You know,
Yeah.
I need my laptop for the gig. If something happens while I'm on it, but I'm also a very focused person, so I'm really not doing nothing else.
Yeah.
Like, if I'm not doing the show, I'm sleeping.
Huh?
I'm not in my hotel room trying to make a track. I can do that here. I'm coming back. Jesus, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
the moment then is how can I make this show the best show that it can be? That's what I'm on right when I'm there. If I'm in Detroit, I ain't doing what I do here.
I think that's a very strong point. Something I struggle with because I'm such a fucking multitasker. You know what I'm saying? Like, so, but keeping things in its place for while it's there, which also allows you to be more present in that experience, right? So
Exactly.
because you're not distracted by something
See,
else that
I
has to
only
be
get
done.
called for experiences where you have to be 100% present. Like,
Yeah.
I was actually just talking to somebody like, you know, I'm not always, I don't, you know, sometimes I wish people didn't know what I can do, really. Like, if they just knew I could do maybe half of what I could do, I wouldn't be called for such impossible stuff all the time.
Yeah.
Like, people call me when they know nobody else could do it. So I end up getting called for the most difficult things to do. Like, nobody called me for nothing easy. You know what I'm saying? Because they're like, well, somebody else could do that. This is what I need you for. It's like, okay, but I just, you know. So I end up being that guy.
Yeah, I know you are. I know you are. And like, check him out because you will see he is that guy. I do want to ask you a very serious question because I've listened to your piano playing skills, your jazz playing skills. So, how much influence did Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood have on your piano style?
Don't go. Now you really listen, Johnny Costa.
Right?
Oh my God.
And I could hear it too.
I appreciate.
I could hear it.
You don't understand. Right now, I'm making children's music.
Yeah.
In the spirit of Mr. Rogers, not in the style of Mr. Rogers, in many styles, but in the spirit, which was Johnny Costa said, "I like playing jazz." Fred Rogers came to me talking about making a kids show. I don't want to do clink, 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 clink. You know, I don't want to do that. That will not fulfill me at all. And Fred Rogers was like, I'm writing real jazz songs for you to play.
Yeah.
Nobody wants you to dumb it down for the kids.
Yeah.
I want you to play like you play.
Because
and he was like, oh, okay. Johnny Costa was like, well, Fred's a real jazzer, which he was.
Yes, he was.
He wrote some incredible melodies. He wrote some incredible songs. And he played it live. Johnny Costa played it live every show. It wasn't pre-recorded. While you're watching the show, he's playing it with his trio. And that's what people don't understand. They're watching a live performance every time. You're playing the same song differently every time. So when I'm growing up with a propensity toward piano, I'm listening to this piano that's different every single time Mr. Roger comes on. Like, he's playing this every time?
Yeah.
What show do they do that? It was incredible. And if you look up Johnny Costa on YouTube, you just his playing was every bit of Oscar Peterson level.
Amazing.
It was all the way there. Like, it was every bit of that. He was one of the greatest jazz piano players of all time, and he became famous playing for kids.
Yes.
That's gangster, yo. Like, that is incredible.
Dude, listen, and he got in our ear, so I'm entirely grateful. You know
that dude right there, man. Johnny was Yeah.
On
Yeah.
point. On point.
Those were the things. So, you know, for somebody to make the decision not to dumb down things for
Yeah.
me when I was a kid was important. It's important to my development for you not to say because I'm a kid, you're gonna play down to me. No, bring me up. Don't play down to me.
Dude, we need to put that level of expectation on children, especially now, because, God, I just feel like what the talents that we have, like they really need to be like nurtured, you know? Like kids need to be nurtured in their gifts, you know what I'm saying? And the only way you could do that is by raising the freaking bar and giving them something
Fred Rogers, George Duke, Keith Thomas
man.
was a huge influence of mine. Keith Thomas did all the BB and CC Wine and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
He also did the Save the Best for Last for Vanessa Williams and Baby, Baby, I'm taken by the note.
Yeah.
That's him. His melody and his use of melody
Yeah.
and his sonics changed my whole, like, it confirmed a whole lot of things for me when I was at the right age. George Duke was probably the biggest one.
Mm-hmm.
And then Mervyn Warren and Take Six. All
Which
these
I
people I'm
love.
listening to. And then, of course, Mozart and,
Yes.
you know, Beethoven and
Chopin is big for me, dude. I love Chopin.
Chopin was a
He's
beast.
just, yeah, incredible.
He's like the Art Tatum of classical music.
Yeah.
Yeah, but his left hand was twice as big as his right,
I know, I
so
know, I know.
you can't play his stuff. You can't. So yeah, so those people were really big influences on me when I was growing up. Just listening to him, like that's the way music is. David Foster.
Yes.
David Foster, when it comes to making records, was probably the biggest one because I'm a songwriter and a musician. So Quincy Jones was a big influence to me, but he doesn't write songs.
Yeah.
And Babyface was a really big influence to me, but he also is a producer, but he's more of a songwriter.
Yeah. Yeah.
So for me, I was David Foster because he's like 100% both. And so is Keith Thomas and George Duke and people like that. So those were the people that I look to for.
Yeah.
That's what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
And this is their take on how to do it. What do I like best about these things, and how can I blend them into the thing that I'm going to do and do something else?
Mm-hmm.
That was me growing up. Period. That's it.
And that's how you like create new stuff, though. Like,
Yeah.
you know, that is that's the catalyst of like new out of the old.
Yeah, we're not an island. Like everything comes from
No.
somewhere.
It's regeneration.
You know, it was funny, like, you know, back in the day when Ray Charles was doing his thing, they were mad at him because he was taking church music and he was singing different kind of lyrics over them, right? They were saying that like church music didn't come from nowhere.
Mm-hmm.
They're saying that like church music is the first music and everything that he does is taken from. Don't you know church music came from somewhere too?
Absolutely.
It came from something that really is the same thing that he's taking it and doing over here. It's just a different time, different technologies. Now there's a Hammond B3. There wasn't a Rhodes before. So now that this is happening, but it's all, nothing is new.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's only new in your interpretation of the same thing. It's not 100% new on Earth. That doesn't happen. So it's just hilarious. You're taking this and you're making something out of it. What is this? This is some other stuff.
I know you're deep like this too, because I look at it as like an energy perspective. You know what I'm saying?
David
Like
plays a lot of piano.
energy is just like the way it just rolls. You know what I'm saying? Like it never goes away. It's there. It just comes in different forms. You know. Same thing about like inspiration. and what people put out and genres of whatever. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, but also there, and people got to realize too, man. I think a lot of people who are young writers and artists, like they get distracted by people's opinions. You know what I'm saying? You cannot let opinions fucking bother you. Like you just can't. You can't. That is like a number one mistake. Tune out opinions. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah, unless they're beneficial, you should know which one. Know yourself again is always what it goes back to.
yeah. It's
It's
the
always
truth.
what it goes back to. Know thyself, to thine own self be true.
Yes.
That's what it goes back to, because I know what opinions to ingest and I know what opinions to swat away from me, like I'm playing badminton, because they are not the opinions that I should internalize. How do I know that? Because I know who I am and what I'm supposed to do.
Absolutely.
If you know that, you know everything. You know which ones to take and which one. There's opinions that you need.
Oh, it's
But
constructive, exactly. You know, and even if they are harsh,
the
if
same person will give
somebody,
you opinions that you need and opinions that you don't need. How do you decipher? You can't decipher them by
yeah,
person. You
yeah,
have to decipher them on an individual opinion basis. How do you do that if you don't know who you are?
yeah,
So it all comes back to, what's your job on earth?
yes,
What are you supposed to do? What are you supposed to revolutionize? Because if you're supposed to revolutionize, opinions really aren't going to mean anything because there's no precedent. There's never a precedent for doing something first.
yes,
You can't do something first with a precedent. If that's the case, something else was first.
yeah, yeah.
So if you're doing something new, there's nothing established that you can get that from. You have to get that from inside of you. And you
Yeah,
can't expect anybody else to understand that. They're not supposed to. You're the one who's supposed to.
yeah.
And you're not necessarily supposed to convince them either. You're just supposed to do it.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
Truth. I love it.
I'm here to do what I'm going to do. I'm going to do what I'm here to do. That's, yeah.
Yeah.
Stop it. It's like, can't nobody stop. I don't even think like that. Of course, nobody can stop me. I make the decision of what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
Stop me. Nobody gonna put me in chains. Like, of course they can't stop me. They don't decide what I do. So
Dude,
I
listen,
do.
passion drives purpose. All right, it really does. So you have the passion about what you're gonna do, right? Providing your purpose and freaking like, yeah. Oh, I'm so excited because I can't wait to hear what else you come out with now that I know who you are
Me
too.
neither.
I liked your song, by the way, dude. The No Air
Which
song was
song?
on point. That
Oh,
was a
no
good
air.
song.
Thank you.
Yeah, like back in the day before like I living in LA was like contemplation at that time in my life. You know what I'm saying? Like so
Yeah.
freaking yeah, just
That was my second placement. Biggest song in 2008 in the world was
right?
second placement. The first one was One, Tyrese.
Yeah. It's cool shit. How was it hearing your music like on the radio for the first time?
Honestly, it's what I expected.
I love it.
I don't know. I just don't think like that. Like, I'm not the guy who's gonna be like, oh my God, my song's on the radio. Oh, that's what I came to do.
It's
It's
about
like going to
time,
the it's
right?
like going
That's
to the
what you're
doctor's
thinking.
office and be like, oh my God, I'm at the doctor's office. I literally got in the car so I could go to the doctor's office. I'm not surprised when I get
Dude, dude.
I was like, okay, that's one song.
Yeah.
And I was ready to do another one.
Yeah.
Like, it's really dope that this happened. So I feel that it's great that it happened, but it wasn't a like big
Yeah. It was
surprise for me.
yeah, it's about time. That's the
Like, I
mindset.
would
You know what
never
I'm
have
saying?
gotten in the plane when I got in the plane with what I had if I didn't know that was gonna happen.
Yeah.
That don't even no.
You got to think that way. I hope people are watching this, like legit, and I encourage you to like seriously go back through his YouTube videos and just like when he goes live, freaking watch him, dude.
You
Like
know,
you.
the moment that there, I mean, I have moments. It's just different moments. Like,
Mhm.
the moment when I felt crazy was when I'm in the theater at the end of Dreamgirls, and they're singing "When I First Saw You," I said, "Oh my," and it's Jamie Foxx and Beyonce singing a song, and almost every instrument playing is me, and I'm in a theater, so it's like huge.
And you're
It's
just
like I'm
getting
on piano,
hugged.
I'm
You're
on keys,
getting
I'm on
hugged by
bass,
all the sounds. You're getting
and I'm
hugged for
like,
it.
I played that.
Yeah.
This
Yeah.
is all. That's crazy. And to know that they play, it's just like when you did such a good job and you know it, like,
Yeah.
because they put the strings from a whole nother session on what we did that day, and it fit because I played the song exactly right. If I played the song even a little bit wrong, the strings wouldn't have fit.
Yeah. Yeah.
they had already recorded those strings before I recorded what you're hearing.
Yeah.
So they took the strings, plopped them on top of that, and it worked perfectly.
Yeah.
That was like I came and did my thing that day.
Yes, you did. Yes, you did.
I was there for like 2 hours.
Yeah.
And this is what happens. It was me and Teddy Campbell in the room. Teddy Campbell played the drums. They kept the first take. I played the piano, and that ain't the only song I played that day.
Yeah, yeah.
So it took less than the time that I was there. Dude, they were like, you play bass too, right? Yeah, okay. I had a bass, so I played the bass. I didn't come to play the bass. I don't have bass credit on the movie because the credits were already written. It was so late in the game. The credits were already written. I got keyboard credit in the movies, but I played the bass on the credits. It was just like, this right here is crazy. That right there, yes. That felt wow.
Yeah, yeah.
That felt, yeah. There might have been some straight out of Compton moments. There might have, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, but Dreamgirls had a couple moments like that.
Yeah.
Dreamgirls had a couple moments. I remember I was in the elevator, and another guy was in there, and I was like, what are you here to do? He was like, I'm an engineer on Dreamgirls. I was like, oh, dope, I'm playing on Dreamgirls. He was like, what are you playing? I said, I'm playing some piano. He said, did you play on Fake Your Way? Fake your way to the top. The Eddie Murphy in my ear yelling while I'm playing. Anyway, you know, the donkeys in my ear, yeah, basically. But that's what it felt like. So I was like, yeah. He said, bitch and solo, man. Like, he went crazy. I was like, oh, yeah, there is a solo. Like, I forgot. And he was like, dude, he said, we featured that in the movie. There's a part of the movie where there's no dialogue. We put that there. I was like,
Right? Right?
what?
Right?
You featured my solo where there's no dialogue? That's gangster. Those moments are dope.
Right?
Those
And
moments.
it's just gratitude, right? I just imagine it's like, wow,
yes.
thank you. You know what I'm
It's
saying?
like to be prepared for that moment when it happens, and then for it to work out the way it does.
Yeah.
Is extremely fulfilling. It's not when I hear the song on the radio. It's when something like that happens, when it's so much that had to have taken place in order for that moment to be what it is.
Yeah.
And I happen to be one of the few people in the world that know how much had to take place for that moment to be what it is. And I was part of the moment.
Yeah.
That feels crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
That feels good.
I'm loving this. I'm loving this. So
The
and
intro
you
to
said
Straight Outta Compton is fire.
it's a good song. That's the other thing too I like about you is your versatility. That's really freaking amazing. A lot of people they're
Yeah,
like,
when
oh,
people are
I'm
like,
only
yo, man, can you
an
score?
artist.
I
I'm
just be
only
like, I
this
just
type of
mention those two.
music. Dude,
Just
I love
Mean
it
Girls
all.
and Straight Outta Compton. It's like,
Yeah.
okay, everything else is
I
in between. I don't need to mention none of the other movies I did. Just I did those two.
Oh
You know,
gosh.
scope. That's cool that I've had those two.
Yeah.
To present that much of a scope because they're nothing like each other.
Oh,
You know,
I did want to
night
ask
and
you.
day.
I wanted to ask you too. The Kobe Bryant thing that you did though, like
Ooh,
that was hot, man.
that's one of those moments.
That was hot.
That's what I'm talking. Being able to do a tribute to Kobe.
Yes.
I'm playing it. I'm playing a lot on that. I'm playing guitars. I'm playing keys. I'm playing leads. I'm playing strings. I'm playing bass. I'm playing that one.
That was
Being
beautiful.
a part of that at
Beautiful.
the game, they played it at halftime. It was
Yeah.
like,
That's a
yeah,
moment. That, like you said, that is a
that feels good.
moment. That's a moment. Yeah.
Yeah, just right after Kobe passed, it was just a lot. It was just being a part of that was
Yeah.
that was one of those times.
'Cause that was hard, man. That was hard. That was hard. That was hard.
That was rough on everybody.
Yes.
And just to be able to do something with, well, you've seen my life. I put all my everything in everything, right? I
Yeah.
don't really do anything less than everything. But but to be able to put that everything into something as meaningful as that, a tribute to somebody who's respected to be great at what they do
Yeah.
and be lost.
Yeah.
All of that's in that track. It's a celebratory sound. It's not it's not a sad sound. It's a
Yeah, it's
celebration of who
of
he
life.
was,
Mm-hmm.
and you can hear that.
Yes.
You can see it in the video. That was edited extremely well. Whoever edited was nominated for a Grammy for editing. I mean, an Emmy
Yeah.
for editing. It was edited extremely well, and the musical bed with the. It was just such a huge collaborative effort where
Yeah.
everybody brought their A game, and it was perfect. There was nothing wrong with it. I don't think it could be improved upon,
Oh
and
God.
that's how it should be. If you're doing a tribute to somebody that great, it should be like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that was another one of those moments.
And you carry it with a different sense of responsibility too, I think.
Yeah.
You know? It's just like singing some, to break it down for
Well,
people.
you do things for everybody who can.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
the fact that it's you means it's not anybody else, and there's a whole lot of people who would want it to be them.
Mm-hmm.
So you carry that weight, however you carry it, whether you carry it well or not. That weight does exist. Should somebody else be doing this? When you do something, there should be no question as to whether or not it should have been you that did it.
Agreed.
Otherwise, it's a disservice to everyone who didn't, which is the entire population of Earth besides you.
Yeah.
Everybody besides you didn't do it. So you should do everything with that with everything.
Yeah.
Do everything with everything. Then when something like that comes along, you can just be yourself.
Oh.
It's like when I first went to Dre, the guy who brought me to Dre, Focus was like, bring your A game. And I was like, I don't have a B game.
Right?
I was like, if I tell you that I'm going to bring my A game, that's me admitting that sometimes I don't do as well on purpose. I don't have a B game, bro.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not going to say I'm going to bring my A game because I don't even know what like, I've never even thought like that. That doesn't even compute with, I'm just going to come. We're going to work. It's going to be amazing. And we're not going to stop working. That's what's going to happen.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's exactly what happened.
Absolutely.
I know it's gonna happen when I get there. There's no question about that. But people put their name on stuff. It's like it's scary after a while because he went in like I found the guy when he found me. So if I come and I'm not the guy when I get there, that's a scary thing.
Yeah.
So I totally get you putting your name on something. That moment when it hits you, how hard you just went in.
Yeah.
You gotta deal with this fool after this dude leaves if he's not the guy. And it's like, oh, did I go too far in on this dude? He was in that moment. But I was like, yeah, I just have one game, bro.
Yeah. Way to be, dude. And it worked out, right?
Definitely. I've been with him for 7 years now.
Yeah, that's cool as hell, man. It's cool as hell.
Just have one game, guys. Just have one game.
Your one game should be you.
Just
whoever the fuck you are, you just
express that 100% every time.
That's right. That's how I feel about that. Oh my gosh. Oh, you're awesome. You're awesome. Who else is talking over here?
What about I Just Want to Live? That's Kedron. The little nephew. He's signed by them Joints. Jim Joints is on the team with Dre.
Uh-huh.
We support each other because we're on a team with each other. We don't just all support Dre. Dre supports us. We support each other.
Yeah.
We're a team.
Yeah.
We're a band of merry men. That's what we're all fans of each other. So if Jim Joints has got a kid he's working with, I'm there. I'm gonna, offer my services in that situation and vice versa.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. Without even having to be asked, man, you have an offering heart. You know what I'm saying? For people you trust and you're cool with. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You offer.
Yeah.
Don't be stingy with the gift. And I'm not, you already know this shit. I'm just talking about anybody out there who's listening. Do not be stingy with the gift, man.
Don't be stingy with the gift.
Don't be stingy.
If I play something and somebody's like, what did you just do? I'll break it down like nobody on earth. I'll break it down like this. It's in no book. in the world. I'll break it down so if you don't even play piano, you might be able to do it. I'm going to say, this is what I did. And you could also do it this way. And, well, if you come from here, you can also do it that way. I'm going to tell you everything I can about what I just did.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to be, some people don't want to tell you because they feel like they're giving up their secret. Fool, you ain't got no chords, bruh. Like, you don't have chords. We don't have chords. I just played one that's been played by a million, billion people before me that I do not own. So when somebody asks me for something that I do not own, it's my responsibility to give it to them.
Absolutely.
Here, bro. First of all, I get better because of that. I just gave that to somebody. I'm going to go learn something else.
Yeah.
Because I'm a pipe, not a jar. That's how that thing works, man. You cannot be you cannot feel like you have secrets.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh,
I'll
that's
have
just
another
bad for the
secret tomorrow.
conscience, though, dude. Like, anytime there are secrets involved, it's just bad for the conscience. I love to live a conscience-free life.
How you gonna do something, give it to the world, and it's a secret?
Yeah.
You whisper a secret. You don't put it on the radio, right? Somebody's gonna figure it out, right? You just put it on the radio. Look, you can have it before it gets on the radio. If you want to know how to do, if somebody wants to know how I made No Air, it's on the internet right now. I actually, after I made that video, Shazammed it, and it said No Air. That's how much like No Air. I made the track exactly the same. That I didn't water it down. I say this is kind of how I did it. It's the principles behind how I did it. No, I made it in your face. Yeah. If you remake the same track, you're gonna sound stupid because you're gonna be trying to be like me. That's not the point of making the track. The point is why I made the decisions that I made. Absolutely. And helping you to make hit records and how to make hit records. But when you go that deeply into how I did it, you can use those principles to do something else. Yeah. So don't be the stingier you are, the worse you're gonna be.
Dude, that plays into ego though too. It really does. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, every great musician learn from every other great musician. That's how we get better. We take things from each other.
Yes.
That's how the person who's stingy is the one who messes up the whole thing. Like, we are supposed to. You think Art Tatum didn't learn from anybody? You think Oscar Peterson didn't learn from Art? You think these people didn't learn from each other? They were playing the same clubs at the same time. Some of these people, Fats Waller, and all these people in this culture, you think they weren't taking things from each other and freely giving them to each other?
It's a small pool that people swim in. You know what I'm saying? Like, it really is.
You can't swim in the pool and keep the water to yourself.
Right?
It don't work like that. It don't work like that.
Man, oh man. Oh my gosh. So, listen.
Tone knows. I've showed him. I've stopped producing stuff, but he asked me a question, be like, no, this is how you do it. Right on my line. I don't care. Yo, that's what I'm here for. I didn't get here so that I can keep, like, you get to a place so that people that are not there yet can find it from you.
Yeah.
Like, that's why David Foster got where he got, so I could listen to him and be like, oh, so he interpreted it that way. And then Keith Thomas did the same thing that way. And George Duke did the same thing that way. They weren't there to actually show it to him, but their music did. Yeah. It only makes it more better and fuller if the person is actually there to tell you. It wasn't social media. I couldn't get in touch with these people. Yeah. But now we do. So somebody can actually get it. I make the whole record on my live. I made my whole jazz album on my live. Yeah, I'm telling you. I made my whole hip-hop record on my live. I mean, that comes from a certain amount of hip-hop mentality, too. It comes from a certain amount of confidence, which is like, I do this. Like, I'm not going to, if I make a mistake on the keyboard part, that doesn't take anything away from what I do. Like, you need to see that, too. You need to see the bad takes and the good takes and how I get to the right take and all that. Like, that's part of the thing. Like, if I only show you the finished product, that's insecurity.
There's a process, and that's
really insecure.
Learn more. It's the only way you learn more is to like make mistakes.
It's like
You
only show you with makeup. I only go walk out the house with makeup on. No, that's insecurity. I'm not insecure about this thing. I do this.
Yeah.
But I don't want to be the only one that does it. There's other people that's supposed to do it too. So let's help each other out. I'm not
Yeah.
gonna do it no less because somebody else does it.
So cool. So
And I
cool.
can contribute more to the world musically by helping other people do it than I can ever do as one person.
Yeah, dude, because you could build like proteges. You know what I'm saying?
If these people
Who
learn from
actually
me and
turn
they
into
go
their
do
own
stuff that they
things.
couldn't do otherwise, that's me contributing musically to the world. I don't have to contribute only on the music that I make.
Right?
That's the least of what I can contribute, really, because if I teach 1,000 people and they're all better at what they do because of what I taught them, then that's a bigger contribution musically than I could make by myself.
Agreed. Agreed. Agreed.
What if everybody was doing that?
Dude, we'd have like so many like diamonds in the rough actually shining right now. You know what I'm saying?
And the world
Like,
would have better everything.
yeah, absolutely.
It would
Think about
elevate
that.
everything.
Oh, I know you've thought about it, but think about that. I'm talking to school.
It would elevate
Seriously.
everything.
You know? Seriously. That's why I'm telling you, I joke about it all the time. I'm saying it again, I'm gonna be world famous. I'm just letting you know. However, on my path there.
That's what P. Diddy said when he was giving people sandwiches. That's not even funny. He was an intern giving people sandwiches saying,
Yeah.
remember my face, remember my name.
Dude,
You're gonna know me one day.
I'd absolutely no doubt in my mind.
Giving you your coffee, bruh.
Yeah.
And he's P. Diddy right now.
Yeah.
The person that put me in the game, when he got his big break, P. Diddy brought him a sandwich.
Oh. That's
You just
cool.
don't know, bruh. You just don't know.
You don't
You don't
know.
know who's gonna be what.
Yeah, you don't know. But if you know yourself and
I
you're
know what
living
I'm gonna
true to
be. I just don't
yourself,
know who else gonna be
exactly.
what.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
I just don't know about y'all.
That's what I'm saying.
But you never know who's gonna be what. Somebody that I taught songwriting to just became the head of urban marketing for Motown Records.
That's cool as hell. And you
His
taught them.
first day was today.
Oh.
I was like, yo, you were just a kid in my songwriting class. You're the head of urban marketing, somebody that I taught.
Yeah.
He
That's
was
cool
like,
as
you
hell.
contributed to this. That's bigger than music. That's bigger than making a song. That's even if it's just a little bit of I mean, he's
No,
the head of urban.
all right, so this is the
It's a small
distinct
contribution.
thing. Yeah, dude, it's not about making a song. Everything that we do, it's about impacting lives. You know?
Humans.
Like, what if people freaking actually reframe their thought process to actually understand that we are all connected and we have opportunities to impact other lives? You know what I'm saying? That's what it comes down to. You know?
Everything is for.
They don't
That is
get it
what
though.
everything is for. That's what everything is for.
Exactly.
It's not to show off. It's not to show how good you are. How good you are is how effectively you do that.
Mm-hmm.
How effectively you impact people emotionally, intellectually, whatever your field is, conveniently. If you do some technology to make something more convenient, how well you do that, how much better that person's life is because they have that thing. It's always about impacting lives, no matter what you're doing.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's the bigger message, man. Like, I'm so grateful that there are all these tools of creativity to bring people together. You know what I'm saying? But it's just developing that sense of self to know that your purpose is really never about you. That's the message. It's really
Never.
never about you.
Why does talent exist? Talent exists. One person can do something because another person can't and needs that thing. That's the reason why a person can do a thing. A person is a mechanic because other people's car breaks down and they need a mechanic. He's not a mechanic for himself.
Yeah.
Him being benefited by being a mechanic is actually a byproduct of the reason why he's a mechanic. Everything you do is so somebody else. So the person who's more skilled and the person who's more talented, it's hilarious that people think they're better people or deserve more because they're good at something. Being good at something makes you a public servant.
Yes.
It doesn't necessarily make you exalted. It makes you a servant. The more you can do, the more people you can serve.
Yeah.
So the greater your talent or your skill is, the more of a public servant you are.
Yeah.
But that's how it works. The people who are exalted, kings, for instance, kings are public servants. Kings are in charge. That doesn't make them not a servant.
Yeah.
The king has servants, but nobody's a bigger servant than the king. Because the king serves the people who serve him and everybody else. Because he has the biggest reach.
Yeah.
So that is how you have to look at things. Like if I'm given a bigger reach, that's a bigger responsibility. That's more people that I can reach. That means I'm more of a public servant. That means I have more responsibility.
Yeah.
That means I have to be concerned with whether I'm a good or bad influence to people, even more so than if less people knew who I even am. You know, but when you just think of it, oh, I'm better because, no, you're not any better. You're not any better as a person because you can do a thing. Yeah. No matter how good you do it. It doesn't affect how good you are as a person when you're good at something. It means absolutely nothing as far as how good a person you are. How good a person you are will determine how you react to your level of skill, your level of fame, your level of influence at different increments in your life, because all those things will change. It's not like you're just going to have one forever. The level is going to increase or decrease. And how you react to those increasing or decreasing moments is going to come from your character, baseline who you are. It's not going to come from how good you are at anything except being.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's important just to see those things as different. I'm good at keys, so I'm a better person. No. I'm just really good at this. That's all that means. That's all it means. You're still going to need all the other stuff.
Yeah. Man, oh man. I tell my people all the time, I'm like, get your mind right.
Wow. That's literally
I tell
the
them,
name of...
this is so, and again too, this is where I was going back to. I keep saying I'm gonna be world famous, but I tell them, don't idolize me.
No, I don't do that.
It's all
that's
about the
name
message.
of the book that I'm writing. The name of the book that I'm writing is Get Your Mind Right.
Oh, are you serious, dude?
Yeah.
Dude.
I've been writing it for a long time. I'm just writing it as it comes. I'm not like in a rush. I think there's going to be a point of my career when I do more public speaking.
Yeah. Which will happen.
The companion product to public speaking is a book. So at that point in my career, it'll be important to finish the book. Right now, it's not really as important to finish the book. And I also have more credibility at that time. So that'll be the time that makes more sense to do the book. But I've been writing it. I'm always preparing for everything I'm ever going to do.
Exactly.
A little bit or a lot. I'm always...
You have to.
Some level of preparing for everything I'm ever going to do.
If you're not prepared, how are you going to be ready when it's your time to shine, baby? You know what I'm saying? Like, and the more prepared you are, the more you start to have that glow, even when you don't have opportunities, because people are just going to see it in you because you're glowing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Like, and you're going to get them. Because, so many things have happened to me and people don't know why they're so comfortable doing it. Why are they comfortable giving me that opportunity? They don't know. You know, I sold something to a guy. I used to do door-to-door sales, and I used to train people in like cold door-to-door businesses sales in Alabama. So I'm a black guy going into rural Alabama and selling people stuff at businesses. Of course, I got no peddlers every now and then, but I also had some really good customers and some really cool people. I met some of the coolest people down there. But one time I sold I was in a dealership right before I got kicked out. And I told this guy, I sold him a planner, right? And the dude looked at me, he said, "You're good. I'm never going to use this." I was like, "Wait, you know you're never going to use it?"
But he just
He
liked
was like,
you.
"Yeah, I know I'm never gonna use this." I was like, "Do you want me to take it back, bro? I will give you this money back if you want to take it back, right? I don't want you to have something you're not gonna use." He was like, "No." No, no, I'll take it. I said, "Dude, it's a really good Christmas gift." He was like, and then I got escorted out of the dealership. I had been in that dealership 20 times before that. That's the first time I got kicked. Everybody was wearing a pin as lanyard pins.
Oh
I sold
God.
it to them, but but that was hilarious. I was like, this dude really is like, no, I want to keep it. It's like, all right, cool. Give it to somebody when Christmas comes around. I don't want you to just
That's
not get
great.
anything out of it.
That
But
is
things
great.
like that'll happen to you if you're like, if you're doing what you're supposed to be doing at a given time. Like, you can't really tell somebody, don't get a job, don't have a plan B. I mean, I didn't have a plan B, but there's people who are like, have whole careers outside of what their passion is that may also be their passion. Like,
Yeah.
if they're a doctor and they're also a musician, maybe they like saving lives too. Like, don't limit them.
Yeah.
Maybe it's not a plan B. Maybe it's two plan A's. Maybe
Yeah.
two people, but maybe he's supposed to do two things.
Oh.
Leave him alone. Let him figure that out. Help him figure that out.
So I have a master's degree in community counseling, right? And I worked with the homeless population for 15 years and people,
Wow.
severe drug addicts, and also, you know, extreme mental health disorders. And I worked for the state of Alaska at a certain time for family services as well, you know? And it's like, for me, it's like I would never have been able to have like the person who I am now thrive in Los Angeles. You know what I'm saying? Like I
Wow.
needed to go through those experiences, and mind you, like I kept myself, even when I first came out here, I was out there in the field during the entire time during COVID, because when I came here I was like, you know what, I'm feeling kind of, it's
That's
not what I want
ballsy.
to do. It's not what I want to do. But when they shut everything down for COVID, they were talking about people need to get inside. People need to get inside. Like I couldn't
Yeah.
have it on my conscience that, like, listen, there's a homeless encampment right up the road from me. I was like, and you're telling people to get inside. I was like, I need to be out there doing the work. You know what I'm saying? So
Mm-hmm.
it's like also me. You know what I'm saying? All of it,
That's
everything
also
we've
you.
been through is all of us. And it all makes us who we are. The point is to acknowledge where we are in our life so we can develop that strong foundation of who we are. You know what I'm saying? It's not just about truth in art, it's about truth in person. And you have to have honest conversations with yourself, right?
That's
Like,
yourself.
you know, it's not about somebody else telling you who you are, who are not. You know, even if you're really freaking, I was talented as fuck. I was a prodigy growing up, right? Had people telling me I was talented. I did not believe it in myself. And until you believe it in yourself, none
Yeah.
of what you have is going
Doesn't
to
matter.
matter.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And that's what it comes down to. So that's a little bit of my story. You know what I'm saying? But yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it's everything. It's everything is what it comes down to. It's everything. And it has to be your will and desire to be on this planet and evolve into a greater form of who you ever started out as. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And there are things that are out there that we can evolve into that are beyond our wildest imaginations, because I believe there is greatness inside of us all, and you have got to learn how to tap into it. You know what I'm saying? And once
Yeah.
you turn it, once you turn
That's
it
why I
inside,
said the two things being, you cannot fully prepare for anything.
yes,
And it's more important sometimes for a thing to exist than to exist under the right circumstances.
yes,
Because you cannot ever take into account the circumstances that will exist because it exists
yeah,
until it exists.
yeah,
So when you put things out there, what happens because of them? You just set something in motion by putting things out there. Those things would not be in motion had they not been out there. So a lot of preparation happens after the thing.
yeah,
If you really think about it, because those things are contingent upon the thing existing. Your service, whatever your service is to the world, existing for the world to react to. You set something in motion and then things can react to it. If you don't set it in motion because you're not prepared or that the world is not prepared for it, you don't give the world a chance to react to it.
Yeah.
And that is part of the preparation for the thing. It's part of the thing being viable. It's part of the situation matching the thing that you're doing. And people don't take that into account because they feel like everything has to be done before you do that.
Dude, and it's like the ripples.
And that'll never happen.
Yeah, it's the ripples in the water. You drop a pebble, right? You're going to see what's happening immediately. But the full impact of everything, you're not going to get in your lifetime.
You're going to see what happens on the surface.
You know?
Every time we talk about a ripple, we're only talking about the surface. Mm-hmm. Ripples don't happen in the depth. But something happens in the depth. You just can't see it.
Yeah.
So all those things that you can't see that contribute to the motion, you are responsible for those things just by your thing existing. And that's what a lot of, just do it.
Yeah.
Stop thinking so damn much and just do it. Like, just make it exist.
Yeah. And be all in. Don't be half-assed about it. Because when people are half-assed.
Disney. Look at Disney.
I know. I love his
Look
story.
at him, right? There's a whole lot of things I don't like about Disney. But him as a pioneer.
Yes.
As somebody who made something exist before it even made sense. This dude sat on a park and said, man, wouldn't it be cool if there was a park that kids and adults could enjoy? This is a park that kids can enjoy, that parents bring them to because the kids can enjoy it. But what if there's a park that both age group could? That's why we have Disney. World, land, so movies, everything. And he couldn't explain that to anybody.
They weren't thinking like him.
Okay, he said, what if there was a park that both of them could enjoy? Well, duh, of course that'd be cool, but you can't see it if you're not in his head. Like it only exists in one place until it exists in the world. So you can't explain it. He couldn't explain it. He had to sell his house. He had to mortgage his house.
Yeah.
He had to make it exist to show people. Sometimes, again, there's no precedent when you do something first. So you have to show it to them for them to even understand what it is to invest in. So he took all the chances, made all the risks because he knew exactly who he was, what he was supposed to do, what it meant, what it would mean to the world.
Yeah.
And he did. That's the reason why we have, man, what an empire.
Yeah.
What an empire was, and we're still moving. They're still moving from plans that he made before he died. Come on, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
But everything that you think could be bigger than you, everything that you think could be a legacy like that, every desire that you have that you want to do could be that type of thing that exists long after you.
No doubt.
Could ever plan because you don't even exist that long. But that could be anything. Like your shop, your store, your song, your.
Dude, I think about these things on micro and macro levels, right? Because I know that, like, listen, there's an ability to touch the masses with certain mediums, but at the end of the day, it comes back to that interpersonal relationship, right? Because the same truth and character you have at the top with the macro, right? You've got to be able to be that same person when it's one-on-one. Or when you're just by yourself. Are you that same person? You know what I'm saying? Like, and this is what I love about Disney, right? The one thing, all the pioneers, right? Just that zero fucks factor. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's, you gotta have it. You gotta 100%. Have it. You gotta 100%. Have it. It has to be so real to you before it exists. Like that there is, like what you said, there is no other option than something existing because that's the reality. That's
it's like when I put myself here, I made myself exist in this space.
Yes.
So then everything in this space has to react to me. Mm-hmm. Everything has to react to my presence in this space because I'm here. Just something existing means everything else has to react to that thing.
Yes.
So you put yourself where you matter. You put yourself where you can matter the most.
Mm-hmm.
But you got to prepare yourself before you do that. But there's a feeling that you get when you are prepared.
And you got to know yourself in order to be able to place yourself in the parts
do
that matter
in
most.
the right
The
place.
whole process, dude. I'm gonna say it with him, and he's gonna write the book on it. But you better let me write a commentary. Like, get your freaking mind right, man. I say this all the time. Get it right. Get it right. I tell people to swim in the deep end. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, I'm so glad that, you know, my physical external appearance, like, is drawing you in, but that's not the message. You know what I'm saying? My message is so far beyond that, and just planting those seeds. You know what I'm saying? Because I actually want to be Mother Teresa when
everything is a hook. Everything is a bait and switch. Everything you can't ever know everything about me because of a song you heard.
Yeah, right.
You're not supposed to.
We are multi.
You're supposed to want to find out because of a song you heard. You're supposed to want to find out because of what you saw. You're supposed to want to find out because of what you heard.
Yeah.
And then once you do that, you're supposed to find out more.
Yes.
It's not supposed to end there. You know, what is the thing that, like, you got a hook? Okay, what are you bringing everything to?
Yeah. What's the purpose? What's the motivation?
Like, everything that you throw out there is going to lead people back to the source of the thing. Like, if you haven't cultivated the source, then what are you throwing things out there for?
Yeah.
You're not in a position to be throwing things nowhere. Because everybody's going to be like, who did that? And then when they find out and they're disappointed, everybody's unhappy.
You got to know. You got to know. You got to know your why.
Well, I mean, what did you throw out there? That's determined, like, what they're going to expect a certain thing by what you threw out there. What you threw out there has to be because you knew who you were in order for it to even make sense what they find when they get to you.
Yes.
To thine own self.
Absolutely.
Be true.
Always. 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 I say that too, right? Because, like, I'm a little bit more outlandish in my approaches. I have a very, very open mind. You know what I'm saying? Which I think is important for me because that's the only way I know how to live. I can't keep myself in a box. I can't stay just like, you know.
Convention.
Yeah, the more open I allow myself to be, the more I'm able to learn from things that I'm not closing myself off to. I just want to learn from everything, you know?
Yeah.
But the message, I think that's sometimes, like, for all my creative people out there listening in, and just people in general, man, do not forget at the end of the day what the driving force is, right? You got to know the message. You got to know the message. A lot of people, like, all right, so I'm outside of the box. A lot of people can't deal with the consequences of being outside of the box. I can, but I know that about myself, right? So it all goes back to that point. I'm so glad this is a recurrent theme in what we're talking about, because it's so important to know who the fuck you are.
Everything I ever did that worked was unconventional. Was done in an unconventional way. Because I'm not considering what the convention is.
Yes.
I'm supposed to create conventions. Things are supposed to be done a certain way because I did it that way, and now there's a precedent.
Yes.
I'm not supposed to find a convention and then do it. That's not my place. That's not who I am. That's not what I'm here for. I'm going to do things in a conventional way sometimes, but the things that I'm really here for are going to be the conventions that I create.
Dude, you're here to shake up the fucking world. That's what I
believe.
New
ways to do things. Different ways to do things. Ways to do things based upon new ideas, new principles, new technologies. New ways you can move because of the world right now. And if you have the thing that you can move with, which I have.
Yeah.
So that's who I am.
Yeah.
So if I'm constantly looking for a precedent, well, who did? I'll never do what I'm here to do.
Yeah.
I never will. I'll do something else again. I'm not here to do stuff again.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm here to do stuff.
Your way. And I say this too, right? The whole freaking it factor thing is everything typically that you don't like about yourself is what your it factor is. You know what I'm saying? Like, so,
yeah.
You know, like, dive into all of your flaws and imperfections, because that is what makes you unique.
Well, we learn about that from technology too.
Yeah.
Because, you know, when it used to be tape, right? all the things about tape you used to hate, wow and flutter and all of that. Why do we have plugins in the digital realm that are trying to emulate the hell out of tape right now?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because when you lost that, you also lost a certain type of warmth.
Yep.
And now we're trying to put the wow and flutter back in there because sometimes you don't want everything hi-fi. Sometimes you want a little variance every now and then because it feels more human.
Yeah. You want the hole
So
in the
all the
wall
things you
sound.
didn't like about tape is exactly what this plugin is trying to recreate in the digital realm, which is supposed to be better.
Yeah.
There's no better. There's only different. And
Agreed.
everything in the digital is trying to emulate tape. But we don't want no tape
Yeah.
because nobody wants to go through that again. So it's about ease of use meets technology meets all this stuff, but nothing has it all the way perfect. Everything is trying to be something else, and it's always the things that you don't like about a thing that you're so busy trying to emulate when you don't have it anymore.
Yeah.
It's the imperfections of the gear that all these plugins are trying to recreate. It's not the way they transparently recreate the sound that you give them. If you put a guitar through a certain piece of gear, it's not trying to give you exactly what the guitar gave it. It's trying to give you the imperfections of the gear plus the
Yeah.
guitar. Those imperfections is called warmth now.
Yeah.
it used to be called imperfections
Yeah. Yeah.
when you didn't have digital. Now that you have digital, it's like, ooh, I lost some warmth.
Yeah.
Well, you take it for granted when you have it, when it's in everything. But when you try to emulate it and you lose something, you realize what you had in the first place. And it's those things that were imperfections that those are the things you're usually trying to emulate. So
Yeah.
it's hilarious when you look at technology. But yeah.
Man. Man, oh man.
Yeah,
And
it's gonna be those things about you that make you who you are. The LA2A is different from the the Universal Audio 610
yeah.
compressor because of the difference in the imperfections.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of the same for people. Those things that you consider imperfections, and honestly, those things are just the interpretation of the gear of the thing that you pass through them. So the gear adds something to the sound, but that could be considered an imperfection. It could also be considered what we call it now, color
Yeah.
or warmth.
Exactly.
See, it's how you look at it. The things that make you different are the things that make you you.
Exactly. You gotta
And
love it.
different is not bad. Different
No,
is
it's
not
not.
necessary.
No, it's
In
not.
and of itself, that's not because you don't see nobody else like you. That doesn't mean that doesn't have a moral or quality stamp to it. That just is what it is. Different is different. Why are you different is what you need to find out.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And what's truly gonna make you happy? You know what I'm saying? Like, seriously.
How is you making other people happy going to make you happy? What
Yeah,
way can you make other people happy that will make you happy? That's what you need to find
yeah,
out.
absolutely. Absolutely.
What
This,
way can you affect other people positively that will make you happy
yeah.
is
Ah,
really what it is.
no matter what you do, no matter what
No
career path it is, you know what I'm saying? This is why
matter what you
people
do.
feel stuck in a job, you know, because they don't realize that at the end of the day, you're not serving who you're supposed
You're
to be
not
serving.
serving who you're supposed to be serving.
Yes. That's all we are. We're servants. You know what I'm saying?
You're not serving who you're supposed to be serving.
That's right.
That's why when somebody it's not do a purpose, it's not create a purpose, it's not have it's serve a
Serve a
purpose.
purpose. Yes. Yes,
You
yes.
serve a purpose. You are of service to your own purpose, and that purpose is to serve others. It's all about service.
Heck yeah. Heck yeah, it is.
Yep.
Yes. All right. Erik. Oh,
Yeah.
I gotta wrap this up.
Wrap it on up.
Man, oh man, I really don't want to, but I have to.
Put a bow on it.
Oh my gosh. A nice bow. Dude, I'm gonna tag you in this post after I repost it. Hopefully, like people come over. You're like one of my favorite pastimes to jump on your live and just watch your brain work. I fucking love it. I appreciate it so much.
I appreciate all the people that hang out on my live
Yeah.
because it makes it like more fun to make music.
And then I found out you have personality too. I was like, what? He's a genius with personality.
Watch
That's
out!
rarity.
That's terrible. Terrible that that's rare.
Oh my gosh. Many, many, many blessings to you. You know I'm gonna be hitting you up. All right.
For sure.
Dude, amazing, amazing conversation. Thank you so much. I'm entirely
Thank you.
grateful.
I appreciate the opportunity.
All right. All right. I'm gonna click out with you and wrap it up.
All right. Peace.
Man, oh man. Something happened where I just got an iPhone and I'm still learning how to use it. It's a whole new thing for me.
I don't know how to get up here either.
All right. Oh, I got it. Here we go. Yay. Oh, logic is my second. I had to teach myself to be logical, dude. Like it's not pretty sometimes.
Don't be too logical.
No, never that. Fuck that.
Yeah, don't do that either.
I'll talk to you soon, man.
All right.
Oh my god. Yay, and happiness. Holy shit. That was so great. Oh, I am so grateful because like honestly, this is what I love about him. He's just so open. He's a wealth of information. He's a legit freaking musical genius, but he's so humble, but he's not too. Like, and that's the way you gotta be. He's like, oh, he's such a great conduit pipe to like filter down these amazing experiences and words of wisdom into people that are just trying to figure it out. I'm looking forward to getting to know him more. I do want to say thank you for everybody who watched this whole time. It was such a great conversation. Erik, you're awesome. My goodness, next week, I have such an amazing person I'm talking to. Her name is Lauren Bateman. She's a YouTuber. She's a guitar teacher. She's doing such wonderful things in her community to connect students to music. And her story, man, she's also a cancer survivor who was told that she'd never, ever have a chance of like playing the guitar. And her path evolved, and then she went back to guitar, and now she's doing like these beautiful things in the guitar community. So I can't wait to hear her story because it's so freaking inspirational. It really is. She's such an amazing person, another humble freaking person, man. So, and just values life. That's the gist, man. You got to realize this is a one-time deal. What are you doing with your time? What are you doing with your time? I suggest that you take it and you do some introspection. Know who you are. Know who you are. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. And I'm going to do everything on my page to help facilitate ways for you to just learn more about you. My page is not about me. It's about you knowing you and building a strong foundation to not give a fuck. There's actually work that goes into that. Oh, because we don't want to be impulsive with those zero fucks given kind of rationale, right? It has to be with intention. Then things start working out. But I love you all. I just want to end with this, all right? Universe, I'm so prepared to receive all of the greatness and blessings you have for my life. I'm going to go hang out with my family. They were like, wow, that went long, but god damn, it was Erik Bluetooth Griggs. I'm so happy. I love people. I love their stories. I love you all. All right. I'll be back on again live on Sunday morning. Oh, watch this back. So much wisdom. Love you all.